This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital. It is Monday, the 21st of October, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. 4 weekend murders are engaging the attention of police. A suspended 54-year-old police officer was one of 4 people killed in separate murders hours apart on Saturday night. Police said Sheldon Peterson was sitting outside the Awesome Food and Drink supermarket with 2 other men at the corner of the Eastern Main Road and Oldton Road around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday when a beige Nissan Almera drove past into the parking lot. Masked men got out of the car, confronted Peterson, who reportedly struggled with one of his attackers. Peterson was able to pull out his licensed pistol and fired a shot, but the gunman downed and bandits took his gun. The killers got back into the car and escaped. 2 bystanders sustained injuries to their ankles and shins in the shooting. Officers of the Arima Special Investigations Unit paid a visit to the scene and found 6 spent 9mm shells of various models. In the second incident, police said 21-year-old Nikolai Jack was lambing with a group of friends in Open Yard, Cleaver Heights, Arima, when a white car drove past. Bystanders reported hearing a gunman get out of the car, shout to the people gathered. Jack was hit several times in the midsection as the attackers got back into the car and sped off. Passers-by took Jack to the Arima Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 10:15 p.m. And Karen Applewhite, 29 of Laventille Road, San Juan, was killed around 9:35 p.m. on Saturday. The victim was lambing on Saddle Road, San Juan, in the vicinity of the Container Plaza, when a white-colored Honda Civic bearing registration PBT 5132 pulled alongside the victim. One occupant armed with a firearm alighted and opened fire on the victim, who ran to the opposite side of the road near Chin's Chuck Bakery. The suspect pursued the victim and shot several times. About the body, he collapsed. The victim was conveyed to the Air Queen's Medical Sciences Complex, where he was pronounced dead at 9:48. Tobago's road fatality figure jumped to 9 as 3 women were killed in Tobago when 2 vehicles collided head-on in Black Rock early Sunday morning. The deadly incident left 3 others injured and rocked the island as residents awoke to the news of the triple tragedy. Police said 20-year-old Aaliyah Williams, 23-year-old Makeda Fraser, and Patrice Jewel Webb of Belmont in Trinidad died in the crash. According to police, the accident occurred close to 3 a.m. when the driver of a Mitsubishi Lancer veered off the path into the Nissan Latio, resulting in a head-on collision. Both drivers and the third person required to sustain serious injuries and were being treated at hospital. From today, Monday, 21st October, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley will attend Chugam in Samoa. Prime Minister will travel to New York today, Monday 21st, en route to Apia, Samoa, where he will attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Under the theme, One Resilient Common Future, Transforming Our Commonwealth, Chugam will focus on resilience in 4 key areas: democratic institutions, upholding human rights, democracy, and the rule of law, and combating climate change, economy supporting recovery and prosperity, and societies empowering individuals for a peaceful and productive life. Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Dr. Amory Brown, His Excellency Vishnu Danpal, High Commissioner for TNTs in the UK, will accompany the Prime Minister to the meeting. Energy Minister Stuart Young will act as Prime Minister until Dr. Rowley's return. Former People's National Movement Member of Parliament for Laventille West, Neil Young Hippolyte, has passed away. He died over the weekend after recently being diagnosed with acute adult T-cell leukemia, lymphoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Following his diagnosis, Hippolyte made public appeal to get funds needed to get treatment required, which could not be done in the Caribbean. He required a bone marrow transplant. Hippolyte was first elected to the House of Representatives as Member of Parliament for Laventille West in 2007, representing the constituency of Laventille West in the 9th Parliament. He was re-elected on May 24th, 2010. And People's National Movement Chairman Stuart Young has expressed sadness over the death of PNM Laventille West MP Neil Young Hippolyte. Of course, Hippolyte died on October 19th. The Daily Newspaper reported a brief comment sent via WhatsApp on October 20th, where Young said, quote, "I offer sincere condolences to Neil Young Hippolyte's family on his passing," end quote. From 1:30 today, the Senate will begin debate on the budget at the Red House. On September 30th, Finance Minister Cormier presented a $59.7 billion budget to the House of Representatives. The House passed the budget on October 17th. Finally, the BBC is reporting tech billionaire Elon Musk says he will give away $1 million a day to a registered voter in key swing states until the U.S. presidential election on November 5th. The winners will be chosen randomly from those who sign a pro-U.S. Constitution petition by Mr. Musk's campaign group, AmeriPAC, which he set up to support Republican nominee Donald Trump and his bid to return to the White House. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, a Democrat who supports Kamala Harris, called Mr. Musk's strategy deeply concerning. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Morning, neighbors, on this, the 21st day of October. Thank you so much for joining us on Power 102 Digital. Yeah, it is the Power Breakfast Show full casting this morning. We just heard from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, who's logged on already. We'll hear from Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Ruben and Shade in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. 25 degrees on our Twin Island Republic. All right. I didn't check the weather yet. I left my phone at home. So anyway, good morning to you, gentlemen.
Morning, Paul. Good morning, Steve. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. And good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe, especially those in the swing states of the United States. Aren't those stakes high? Wow, $1 million a day. What the hell did I just hear you read, Paul?
Yeah, but it's saying it's illegal. So,
well, I mean,
anyway, morning to you, Paul.
We give away microwave and fridge hunting last time. I didn't think about it.
Let me just bring Paul in. So, good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Wendell. Thank you, Steve.
I think you was enjoying listening to me.
No, I wasn't actually. I thought you should have brought me in first before you started your rant.
I thought you said good morning already.
Anyway.
But do you call what I just said a rant? Is that what you described it as?
You started the rant, yes.
Okay. But isn't that something?
Well, I don't know about American laws regarding the election processes. The super PAC system in the US has all but undermined part of the democratic process because then billionaires could buy elections up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to declare your funding, but there's nothing to stop an outside entity from creating an entity to raise funds to support you independently. Right. If I say I want to put $1 million behind Wendell Stevens, that's not Wendell Stevens, that's me.
Right.
And entity support. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Elon Musk is a billionaire. He would have gotten legal advice on that.
I'm sure. Because as I said, the stakes are extremely high. He clearly indicating the stakes are extremely high in this election. You know? So he is going all out.
But I don't know what signing a pro-US constitutional petition will do when they go into the voting booth. When you go into the voting booth, you're alone there. So
nobody knows.
You could take the $1 million and still, as has happened in other jurisdictions, and still vote how you want.
15 days again to the US election.
But that's not a lot of money in an election campaign.
For him, no, that's chicken feed.
Yeah, that is child support.
Yeah, but clearly the message he wants to send is to play in people's mind that, hey, I could win $1 million if I support Elon Musk's candidate. Because you ain't saying you're supporting Trump, You're supporting the candidate that Elon Musk back in.
But then Elon Musk knows why he wants Trump in office.
Lord.
He's a deeply bright and deeply disturbing man. He's a visionary. But that American election in a whole mess the way it's operating these last couple of cycles. And no matter what happens on November 5th or 6th, if Trump doesn't win, he's going to create mayhem.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
True.
See that already.
True.
And I have said this.
January 6th was a day of love.
Friends of mine got upset with me for saying this. But while obviously Trump is not an option in my mind because of who he's shown he is, I think Kamala Harris is also just okay.
I agree with you.
The vote for Kamala Harris is because Trump is so bad. And I saw Bill Mann, other people saying, tell us who you are and what you intend to do. And stop spending so much time saying Trump is a bad man.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, well, you know, and that's what some nations face. The opponent is so bad. He's so bad. He or she should be so bad that you're going with whoever else on the other side. Because
not necessarily in the US case. I think Trump could very easily win this election. I saw a clip of Barack Obama speaking to some black male voters in one of these swing states. And he told them, you know, he's kind of disappointed because there is no Obama mania. You know, there's no Kamala mania like there was Obama mania. And he was saying, well, you know, you're not coming out to support the candidate. And a couple of them were saying, well, we don't know who she is. We just know Trump bad.
But she has her campaign has flattened a bit.
Yeah,
a lot actually.
It's not peaking at the right time.
Yeah,
there was a lot of hype when she was first announced after Joe Biden withdrew. But now going on interview shows and doing, and then don't get me wrong, she's a bright woman, she's an accomplished woman, you understand? She's a very attractive woman. She speaks very, very well, but it has to be more than Trump bad.
Yeah,
to me, and I know Trump is bad.
Well, Trump is dangerous, not just bad.
Yeah, well, I mean by bad, I mean very dangerous. You know, we see how it goes.
But if there was ever a doubt, is there a budget preparation going on, Paul or Steve?
Where
are we preparing for another budget in Trinidad?
Why?
Because they said that was the reason why the Prime Minister didn't call member to act last time. So what's the reason now? Because Tiong is acting from today again.
No, well, the budget debate continues in the Senate today. And
so you're saying that Minister Imwood don't have time to act as Prime Minister again? Right?
But I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if your thesis, your confusion-making bacchanalist thesis, you understand, is that Minister Imwood has not been chosen because he is busy with the budget. He's still busy with the budget. The budget is not fully passed yet. Or he's no longer the chosen one.
Yeah.
Why don't you just say it?
Wait. Steve, keep that part for me. I want that part from
Now we try. You call him
Did you almost call him Stuart?
No, I asked Steve to keep that part that Paul just said for me.
Look, Wendell.
Good there. Say good morning, good out to the folks out in Jamaica. It's your National Heroes Day. Say good morning to all Jamaicans.
Yeah. National Heroes Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Condolences to the family of Neil Young Hippolyte.
Yeah,
Neil Young Hippolyte, who passed away.
He was a really, really nice chap. I remember.
Very gentleman.
Yeah, when we used to play a little cricket here and there, he came across and he lined for the entire match. Yeah.
You know, Niall Young, I and Darian, we go way back. I actually met Niall Young through Darian, way back in the day when he was just an activist cadets in Laventille area and so on. And then he, of course, also became a CPEP contractor when CPEP was launched in 2002. But he was also acting in the Senate. He was a temporary senator at one point in time. And when he got the opportunity to contest a seat in 2007 under Patrick Manning, when Eulalie James was not reselected because she had gotten ill. Actually, she had lost a leg, if you remember. Niall Young was selected. And we became even closer back then because actually Niall Young's first speech in the parliament, I drafted it, But we had a close relationship.
Too?
Yeah, I can write. I used to write letters to the editor under plenty different names. Well, a lot under my name.
And then you have people who changing identity on the chat.
No, I'm telling you what I did. I did that.
And then you saw people who change in identity and they chat and
No problem. But I'm confessing what I did. I'm admitting to what I did. People can't do that on this chat. But anyway, but I did that more so for Roger Boynes at the time because
why were you writing under different names?
Because I wanted to give at that time. I wanted to give the impression of different people having different views or similar views.
Deceiving the public then.
Or let me finish my thing about Nile Young now. So Nile Young and I, at one point in time, Nile Young and Darian, we had a business together and so on. But we had a close friendship. So when Nile Young fell ill recently, Darian, we would have all come together. Darian, Eldon Coker, Nile Young's wife. Well, he is estranged from his wife, right? And he has another companion. He had another companion. But however, we all came together and decided to do a fundraiser for Nile Young. And you know why I'm raising this? Why am I raising this? Because at the point in time when Nile Young, when we were raising those funds for Nile Young, when he was diagnosed with the cancers, I sent that message out to several people, including former members of parliament and current members of parliament. None responded. None. Well, she didn't respond, but I know she purchased tickets, which is Camille Robinson wages, right? Because even my husband was at that fundraiser. I saw none of them. A lot of the local politicians, I didn't see them either, right? Thankfully, the mayor of Port of Spain allowed us to use the space down at Songford for free. We saw none of them. Today, every man Jack posting condolences. And I'm sure all of them going to show up at the funeral. You understand? That is the level of hypocrisy.
Wendell,
I have a real problem.
I didn't think as far because you have more information. But my thoughts were because I saw, and I actually purchased a ticket to a barbecue on one occasion that he was having, a fundraiser. And I'm saying, wow, this man served, I think, 2 terms.
2 terms, yes.
2 terms.
2 terms as the member of parliament for Laventille West.
Yes.
And in the end, because he was relatively young, he had to resort to having barbecues, to raise funds for his medical expenses. And I thought, how sad.
Yeah.
How sad.
Well, I just thought, how sad.
I remember when Wendell sent that fundraiser at Soundforge, and Paul, I said the exact same.
I said,
thing.
how sad. But may he rest in eternal peace.
Yeah. No more peace.
He was a nice person in every interaction. I heard he was a member of the Lions Club also. So in spite of his illness, he was still doing work with the Lions, I understand.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was a selfless person and he saved this country well. So may he rest in peace. Yeah. But you know what?
That's all we can ask for right now.
Yeah.
You know, so to his wife Lisa, his companion Nichelle, his daughter Maya, and all the people of who he served and worked with. His close friends, Darian Marcel in particular, condolences on behalf of myself and my family. You know, it was just...
He really was a nice chap.
The level of hypocrisy and selfishness and ungratefulness in this place astounds me sometimes.
No,
yes?
It just goes to show politics is selfless. If you go in, don't expect anything but the opportunity to serve and move on. Don't expect nothing after.
For sure.
But
for sure. If
you're going expecting anything, you'll be deeply hurt and disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed.
Anyway, the other, of course, the 4 murders. I see somebody anyway. I'm bound not to take them on you anyway. 4 murders engaging the attention of police, including an officer who was in suspension.
And the second one in less than a week. A
police officer was killed?
Yeah, in Arima. Is Arima, right?
Right. The one who was doing security for the grocery. Yeah, that's us. You saw the vehicle that knocked down the man though in Garipichaima? You saw that accident?
You didn't see the bandits running away?
I don't know what it was, but
the guy on the bike.
I saw a video with people seeming to go and rob someplace and the owner opening fire and they ran out.
That's in Jamaica.
That's Jamaica, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know where the video came from. I
don't have the same video where a guy was riding a bicycle and it's alleged that some bandits were fleeing and they hit him so hard. I think he passed.
Yeah.
And then there was another hit and run.
He died.
Yeah, he died. Okay. And there was another hit and run I saw where elderly lady was walking.
Yeah, I saw that.
She crossed the road and got hit. And I've been saying it for a long. There are so many hit and runs. Hit and run.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be so cold to life. It's an accident. What is the meaning of an accident? Yes, you will have to be questioned and how this happened and so on. I don't know.
Yeah.
That my heart went out to that lady.
There was a triple
a head-on crash by Grafton.
In Tobago.
Yeah.
Three women died in that accident.
Ladies, yes.
Anyway.
I don't know. And there's so many people breaking red lights, huh? I mean, I drove behind a car yesterday, and this man is driving slower. Driving slow. This was Saturday, sorry. And he was getting a red light, and it turned red. It turned red for a while, at least 3-4 seconds, and he still went through. But you're taking your time and you're mashing your brakes for everything.
But Steve, here's my issue with that. This is the 12th Parliament. In the 11th Parliament, we went through, I think, 2 days of debate to amend the Road Traffic Act to allow for electronic camera evidence to support tickets being sent in the mail. Remember that?
Yes.
With this big test run by Rice Road, every time you pass, light blinking in your eye.
And by Escoro.
Where is that today? Where it is?
Oh, I don't know.
Where's that?
I'm happy you raised that, Paul, because someone who's listening also raised with me the issue of our parking tickets, in that you must be actually present to collect a parking ticket. Because you remember, I don't know if you remember, way back in the day, they used to put the ticket on your windscreen. As a matter of fact, in some jurisdictions in the United States and England, they still do. They affix a ticket to your windscreen and they go their way. You will also get, I think, the citation in the mail, but they will find you and you pay that ticket. Why is it that when we ticket here, parking cars, that the person must be present?
Because and why do you have to get points?
If you bad park and you don't ever show up, the policeman can't stand up the whole day. Right? He will have to walk away at some point in time, that's all.
Because there's no way. All right, so let us use the North American system. Let's say for 1 year, I get 10 parking tickets. I'm just saying. Now, on your birthday, you have to renew your license sticker. Right? So that little top right-hand corner, it will say October 26 or 25. In order to get that, you have to clear off everything, all those 10 parking tickets. If it starts at $10, after 14 days, it'll go to $15. After 3 months, it'll go to $30. You have to clear that off before you get that, including renewing your driver's permit.
I don't know why this can't waste parliamentary time. Help cook food, feed them. To pass laws that they do apply.
Yeah.
Here
that was a big thing, and the transport commissioner and the minister of transport.
What they call the system? U-turn, and
I don't know what they call it.
I think it was U-turn.
At taking police out of this breaking traffic light thing. If you break the light, the light would flash and take your number. But I think someone told me that soon they're updating the license plates, because one of the issues was the camera they buy. Like they don't do research before they buy technology in this country. They just buy it and oops.
You just buy.
Sorry, that don't do this and this don't do that.
Listen, that you know how long that camera there by the Hyatt since Suraj Rambachan,
But
Dr. Rambachan
it's stopped blinking now.
was Minister of Works.
It's
You
stopped
remember?
blinking now. When last you see it blink? When last you see it
I
flash?
don't break traffic, right? So
No, but you didn't have to break.
It's been years, Paul.
When you see it flash.
no, once you break it, you used to see the flash.
But you don't have to break it. Somebody else may break it and you see it flash.
Okay, right. Yeah, true.
You see it flashing all the time.
Yeah.
Look. Anyway.
I don't know.
Yep. But I always wonder about this ticketing, this parking ticket issue. That the person...
and you got a ticket last week, but why you have to get points?
Yeah,
it's a parking ticket. Why you have to get points?
I thought they were doing away with that. Didn't they have a proposal to do away with that?
I think so. I think the Minister of Works said that they were going to reverse some of those.
Or maybe they reduced it. Maybe it was more than 3 because it's now 3 demerit points. Maybe it was more than 3 at one time. I don't know.
They can't even
I've
fix the flyover.
I've never had a parking ticket though. Before.
They can't even fix the flyover by NP and Bagwensing to get into Port of Spain. You exit a highway, you have to go through humps. Everybody comes to almost a complete stop. The same grates they use on the interchange by QREP, by Arangoes, that's what you need, not humps to pave over it.
Yeah. Morning, Shamin. Yes, Shamin.
Steve.
Huh?
I will take a placard and pack up my car and use.
That's Steve, you know.
It does. When I come over, how much time somebody almost hit me?
Steve.
Because the guy in front
somewhere else.
No, that means I have to go down by Abattoir Road. I have to go to the traffic lights by the lighthouse. And
Steve, don't you have a bus route pass?
Me? I use the highway, my friend.
So just go down the bus route, Steve. All this tralala and trailing to torture yourself for what? Oh God, animals of habitat. You can't drive them, he driving. You know you could turn this steering wheel to go in a different direction. You know that, right?
Apparently I can.
Okay, all right.
Apparently I can.
You can. And just don't go over anymore. That's all.
Tomorrow I'll try and take it. I'll come down to the lighthouse and time myself.
I don't know when the last
No, but I mean, apart from me, there are thousands of people that use this daily. And it's been months now that it's been like this. But you know what? Nothing is happening. What they did, I don't know if the Port of Spain Corporation, I don't know who did it, but they decided to patch over it. This is for the flyover to expand and heat and come back. You don't pave over that. And I can see the supervisor who watching them fellas. Hey, good job, fellas. Real good job. You do a good job there. Anyway, let's move on.
Dennise Pascal, happy birthday. That's the wife of Corey Pascal. She's celebrating her birthday today.
Today is my brother's birthday as well.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday to you, Dennis. Supposed to meet him for lunch at 12 by East Gates.
All right. Kurt and Curtis Bernard, a twin. Today they are also celebrating their birthday. Olivia Blake, Roger Farrell's wife. Cornell Glenn, former national footballer. Arcella Tash, daughter of Wendy. Dada Gabriel, former councillor in Port of Spain. They are all celebrating birthdays today. Keston Walker also too. All celebrating birthdays today. Happy birthday.
Sharon Pitt's birthday
of
today as
Trinidad
well.
and Tobago has condemned the actions of a man seen physically and verbally abusing a child in a video circulating on social media. Once the video came to the authorities' attention, they executed their protocols. The CEO, director, has appealed to parents and caregivers to consider the following as they rethink the framework approach to discipline for the sake of children. Something Richard is very passionate about. He thinks the law should be changed.
We talked that Friday, you know. Where were you? Where did you go to? Because Richard said, just change the law, make it against the law for people to beat the children. Just make it against the law.
I mean, I agree in discipline, but that video was not discipline.
That was abuse, man.
That was abuse. I know the authorities. Remember, I sent it to Wayne Meister, and he sent back and said they're questioning him. But that is no way to discipline a child.
I think they said the father had apologized and so on. I don't know the circumstance, but they didn't charge him because I guess.
What else you will do?
No,
There's
but
nothing
I
else.
don't think
Sorry. That's all that's going to come out of it.
well, I think they would have gone a little further into whatever investigation that took place, and because it was a family member videotaping him, you know.
Yeah, it was. I don't know who it was though.
No,
Could be
all
another
that came
child.
out in the story. Yeah.
Could be
Anyway,
another child, and I'll be right back, Trevor.
where you going?
I think
Did
my
you
phone
send the
is.
papers yet for the morning, Steve?
I have no phone. I forgot my phone at home. I'm waiting
Oh,
for it to come here. I think they're here already. I'm going to check.
There was another video circulating of a fracas in a church, Lake Emmanuel Missionary Church. I think it's somewhere in the US. Although somebody from Jamaica sent it to me because the people sounded like Jamaicans. The video of a woman and a pastor, preacher, whatever he is. I don't know who he is. Quarreling in a church over some donation. And next thing you know, the man going up in the woman's face and brawling, you know. Two of them on the ground, you know. The pastor and the woman.
In Jesus' name, amen.
And then the second part of the video, whoever is the woman filming the woman, or like, I don't know if it's the pastor wife, that turned into a brawl with the same old lady, you know. And that lady looked pushing 70, 80, you know.
In Jesus' name, amen.
In Jesus' name. You don't bring Jesus in that, no? I pronounce him as Jesus when they're doing that. That can't be Jesus. That Jesus. Real Bacadal, I say, but my goodness. And it clearly looked like a Baptist church. Because there was a machete, there was a cutlass on the ground in the church, you know. I think they would use things like that from time to time.
Depends on the denomination.
Yeah. But it was Lake Emmanuel Missionary Church. Fracas. That went viral over this weekend.
Thank God I didn't get that.
I say hell hath no fury, and I leave it right here. Because it used to be as a woman scorned, but I think it's everybody being scorned quick now, yes. Quick to hate now. Quick to hate.
Former president of the Penal Debate Chamber of Commerce, Rampersad Siraj, has appealed for a limited state of emergency in what he describes as hotspots in the country. Mr. Siraj, everywhere's a hotspot.
Yeah.
And I'm no reason no more.
That's the guy who suffered the home invasion?
Yeah, his calls come after he was attacked at his home by 3 men with masks. During the ordeal, his arm was twisted, elbow dislocated. He was chopped in his head and his valuables stolen. It's a really traumatic experience.
Yeah. He said he's going. He's leaving. He's not staying here.
Yeah. Well, and good morning to this country, sweet, you know. You know, there was a wave of people going to Miami taking their children to see Taylor Swift this weekend.
What?
Yeah. In the big shot circles. In the big shot circles. I have a friend whose daughter said, "Mommy, can I go to Taylor Swift?" She said, "No, honey, we can't afford that. But my friends are going, or my friends are going." It was
so Richard must be gone then.
Huh?
Richard must be gone.
Must be. But no, he said last week that she invited him, Taylor, that is. But he didn't want to go. But it was a big thing this weekend. You know, if you are in the echelons, you're flying your children out to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, one of the two.
All right.
Huge Taylor Swift concert and make a weekend shopping and concert out of it.
You know, sometimes you get really good deals to go to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, right?
I have no problem. People work hard and they want to treat their children.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. Some people work hard and they want to feed their children.
Yeah.
And clothe the children. This place is more animal farm than ever before now.
Boy,
some animals are created more equal. I don't know where Steve can disappear to every
right here. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Can we open the phones now as you finish your little duty in the little room?
Yeah, it was not my phones. I'm trying to get this for Wendell. All right, so 222-8255, toll-free North Americans, 866-525-1099. All right, you give us a call. We'll chat with you. It is 25 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock news at the top of the hour with Avi, who's in the building already. Traffic is beginning to build already on the east-west corridor. Yikes. And from Freeport.
Good morning to Acting Prime Minister Stuart Young, SC. Beware of hot mics, sir.
Yeah.
And over the weekend, Dr. Rowley also made the front pages of several newspapers and asking, where's his apology?
Yes.
But
yeah, we raised it. I certainly raised it on
and
this
they
morning.
listen to us, they listen to us, right?
I think so.
We do have some calls, gentlemen, so let's get to it. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Orlando calling. A little bit about the Taylor Swift concert. My daughter purchased 2 tickets about a year ago to go to Taylor Swift. She's into that. You know, she's still 26, whatever. She paid $250 a piece for the 2 tickets. Unfortunately, this weekend was also a homecoming at Columbia University. So she had to attend. So she decided to sell the 2 tickets. She offered them to her site. She got $4,000 each a ticket.
That's the kind of thing going on.
For one, she got $4,000. She is smiling all the way to the bank.
She's a very, very successful scalper.
Yes.
It was Taylor Swift performed in Miami on Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. People lined up for 3 hours just to get a T-shirt and merchandise and so on.
Yeah.
That's what you call she's a living enterprise.
$4,000.
Imagine that.
When she told me that she was getting, I said, I don't believe it. You know, of course, I think she paid like a 1% commission to the site, whatever. But she still ended up with like over $6,000 in profit.
Smiling to the bank.
Tax free. I said, whoa. No wonder scalping is big business in this country.
Yeah.
It's big business all over, trust me.
I was reading over the weekend, someone purchased some tickets for Taylor Swift, spent $8,400 for the tickets, and when it's time for the concert, he can't find it.
No, understand something. She didn't have best seats. Huh? They only nosebleed seats, but they only best seats. And she got $4,000 for each one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, caller.
Take care, guys.
All the best there. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
I listened to some of these home invasions of people breaking homes in the night.
Oh yes, there was a couple over the weekend.
And you know what I'm not hearing at all? These things that is people who could afford. How come people don't have alarms to make a song, to make noises when people enter? They have so much of things. They have motion sensors. They have sound sensors. They have all kind of different things to set off an alarm, a verbal alarm. And you're not hearing people with these things. They just put a camera and dice it, and they're talking about people who could afford it. Why they're not doing that?
Caller, I'll tell you 2 things. If you're in reference to the gentleman, the former penal, they killed his dogs, you know. He has dogs. They killed his dogs.
Let me tell you
down his door.
Listen to me. Here, listen to something, Wendell. I have dogs, and I have set alarm, a manual and an automatic. And much for me and a rich man.
Some people would think the dogs might be enough.
And sometimes they cut the cables to the alarms.
They did that already.
But you remember there was a home invasion where the lady had dogs, alarm, electric fence, and they still got through.
Because they disconnected the electricity to the house.
But at least put something, because I mean it's not all the whole thing, but you're not hearing with none of this. I don't know. People not. I don't know. But they need to put security alarms and that kind of thing. What is going on now?
That man too, caller, also had a licensed firearm that they took from him. You know, he tried to get it and they took it away from him.
Yes, I know that. I understand that. I mean, in not all instances, they will have alarm and they wouldn't get through. But generally, like people not thinking about that.
I sorry you didn't get to use it before they get there.
Not before they watch me. If somebody, if I home here and somebody only come by the gate and they touch the gate, I see that on the camera. I could flick a switch before the next alarm go off. Hear what? Listen what I did was, I put these flashing light. I put a flashing light in front. So if they come up, I just put on the light on the flash.
But you know what? Even to put, it's $1,000 to put a flashing light, an emergency light.
No, I'm just saying that on that 24. Watch me. I bought one of these ordinary flashing lights I put on these vehicles. I bought one of that and put an ordinary 110 volt supply to it. And when you finish with it flashing, $1,000 for that.
Well, I was looking at it and I saw $1,000 and from more than one company.
No, but caller, I get your point. You have to try different things to deter.
Get the air horn.
Yes, we have to do that.
Air horn. That's pretty reasonable. And thank you, caller. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what about good morning, Zena? I was going to say good morning, Zena.
Yeah. That delay where the head coming out from under the pillow.
Yeah.
Mi amor. I don't know if Richard is there yet. I don't think. Wendell.
Hi, Zena.
Mi amor. ¿Qué tal? Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Go ahead, Zena.
Muy bien.
Sí.
¿Cómo estás?
We're rushing me so for Steve is Monday morning.
Yeah, I have a lot of calls, and you're the same one that has complained. I waited on the phone so long. So.
All right. If you want people on call that, you're going to talk.
No, go ahead.
Anyhow, I want to say that the house has been brought into disrepute a long time and always. So I don't see what is the big scene about.
You know that done right? You know that you're aware that done right?
Pardon me?
You're aware that it's over, right? We done. We move on. You know that, right? It's you keeping it alive.
Well, yes. But what the acting president said, the chair there.
Anyway, you like to bring back things that gone alive, so I understand.
Yeah, but why they talking about it? Why it coming up into the house today?
You bring it up.
All right, okay.
I want that thing you should leave alone.
Good morning, caller.
Hey, morning, Chief Wendell.
If you would like to liven unalive things. Livening unalive things. So,
yeah.
go ahead.
Good morning.
Yeah, this week is a big thing in Tobago. A carnival, right?
Yes, it's carnival.
This week?
I have some friends from Florida. They're in Tobago already.
Yeah.
And
this weekend covered.
There's some people from Trinidad looking for a ticket to go to Tobago. But what I look at is these 3 young people who died in this crash head on. Yeah. Well, they take all the time on the road. I know it's stuff going on over there. Take all the time now. You guys been set out there. I'm having fed out there, I think, sometime this week, I think, I'm fed. And this fed, and all kind of fed. And people young boy, 21 years.
Very young.
23 years. Young people, boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want all them Tobagonians out there and Trinidadians going across it. Take all the time. Take all the time on the road. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Of course, the ferry service, they're going to increase some sailings. All tickets are sold out for Tobago this weekend. So they're adding some further sailings to the ferry.
All right. Good for them. Happy for Tobago. Yesterday was but chairman of NCC's birthday. Gypsy birthday was yesterday too. Morning, Winston Gypsy Peters, and belated birthday greetings.
6:45. Let's roll to the newspapers. You want to put up the Guardian?
Well, I don't have it. Steve didn't send it.
I did.
Monday, the 21st of October,
No, you sure?
2024. Let's start with the Express. Jennifer says no, votes against postponing PNM convention. Former Labour Minister Jennifer Baptiste-Primer said for the first time she's taking issue with the Prime Minister over his failure to follow the democratic process in the PNM.
That's news.
Why not? Why is that news?
No, because they had a press conference later on.
Granddad killed by speeding car. The democratic process must be followed. Stewart acts again, PM off to Samoa. Cop among 4 killed. Anson McCall pulls out of Trinity Mall purchase. Former MP Nylon Hippolyte dies. Death threats under probe. Crash claims 3 women in Tobago. And PNM sets the stage for convention and internal poll.
Well, that negates that.
Let's move now to the Guardian for today. Pat denies it's still receiving aid from military personnel that support the authority. Diego Martin, Central MP, works ongoing in Moncoko road slippage. Did you see the videos of that?
No.
The Moncoko road slippage, terrible.
Yeah, that's some good rain on Saturday.
Doctors call for financial transparency from medical council. Hannah Mathura, the girl who disappeared. TNT's prolific gamer, Casper defeating depression with PUBG, whatever that means. Fake cop causing real problem due to easy access to tactical wear. Farley blames Tobago mothers for rise in crime. Nylon Hippolyte, remembered as true PNM soldier and gentleman. Businessman chopped on head during home invasion. And home invasion victim ends up on the wrong side of law. Let's move to the Newsday now. Kamala, great nations must respect women. Ex-chamber president calls for limited SOE after robbery. Daughters appeal after pensioner hit and killed in hit and run. Give daddy justice. Suspended cop killed in botched robbery in Arima. Laventille West, former Laventille West MP Nylon Hippolyte dies. Senate budget begins today. And Fergus rejects UK stance on reparations. So there's some trending stories in your 3 major dailies for today, Monday, the 21st of October, 2024.
Right to you. All right. So let's get the... why did it say silver era?
Morning, Ragoobarsingh.
Morning, guys.
He's telling me no note. I ain't see no face, right? I thought it was just something there.
Oh,
Put on your camera if you want to be noticed, okay? Good morning.
Good morning, Richard. Of course, our poll on Friday was, do you think the memo from the Commissioner of Police restricting the use of tactical uniforms will be effective? That was our poll on Friday. 89% said no. So there you go. All right. I can't even put you. I'll do it after.
Which one the boss going with today? Hey, Richard, where the boss coming today? Where the boss coming today?
I don't know, but he's typing furiously.
Yeah. He's thumping furiously.
It's a long poll today, boy.
There was a long poll with me. You know that?
Oh, boy.
Hold on, the boss
coming. Correcting spelling. So, based on the advisory of the Children's Authority and Ragoobarsingh's passionate advocate about parents beating children, physical discipline, the question this morning is...
All right. So the question is, should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children?
We have asked this poll before, actually.
We use polls and things.
Yeah. We've asked this before.
The poll is not only for one use.
And at his age, his memory kind of feeds into it. So.
There's more than one retiree on the panel. The numbers are...
We all are, aren't we? I retired. I kind of retired. I'm sure about that.
The numbers are
222-8255. North American 866. 525-1099. People on the web
Always getting distracted.
streaming platforms. You can send
The
your
problem,
messages via the portals there. And of course, if you're watching us on MNE TV and listening to us on smart devices, you can WhatsApp us at 868-318-1021. Our question this morning: should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? That's our poll this morning. This was connected to the issue of that guy,
the video.
the child with the cord, even though the Children's Authority is still, I think it's still investigating it. But it seems that they weren't going to charge. Well, I don't know if they weren't going to charge, but they were certainly not removing the child.
Yes, they said that.
Yeah.
From the let's grab some calls. Good morning.
Good morning. My answer is no.
All right. Thank you so much. Boy Badesi says no. Mrs. Zara says no. Cheryl Henry says yes. Alistair Hart says no. David Ware says no. What says you, caller?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I don't like that old poll. Anyhow, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Tani Gandhi, no.
Thank you. Let's see. Anthony Miguel says yes. John Cato says no. Julia S. Batiste says no. DL says no. Captain Ron says yes. Out in Orlando, recovering.
Morning, Captain Ron. We had a long chat yesterday on the phone.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, we talked
and
about everything.
You know what? I got some videos of bullying by children again. School children. They really need to do something about that. Shuma Paul says yes. Let's see. Strong says no. Von Drayton says no. Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? Yes or no? Billy Bob says yes. Wayne Bennett says yes. Ashton Bennett says no. Lenny James says yes. Val says no. Long Islander says no.
I don't know
Bobby
if you all have
says
noticed.
No. Thank you, Bobby. Morning, Bobby.
I don't know if you all have noticed that we're getting a lot of different names now on our messages.
Carl M. Jack says no. Lenny Roberts says no. What says you, caller?
Mova, good morning. No.
Thank you, Mova. Good morning to you as well. Have a great day. Adrian Cotto says no.
It would be nice, though, if some people are able to identify the area that they are. They don't have to say exactly where they live in.
Yeah, you do that. You know? Eddie out in New York, Staten Island to be exact, says yes. Junior says no.
Yeah. I gather it's a lot more of people listening from abroad to it. That's what I gathered.
Yeah, let's see. Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children?
So that's our poll this morning. 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Absolutely toll-free. People on the web and the app, you know what to do. You can send your votes via the messaging portal there. And of course, if you're watching us on MNE TV or listening to us on smart devices,
all right,
you can WhatsApp us at 868-318-1021.
Alibu White from Boston, USA says yes. Carol Guevara from Sugargonas, aka Gova, says no. I thought you got that phone fixed already.
Carol Guevara is Gova?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nashville, Tennessee, Kurt Hoop says yes. Southman, San Fernando says no. right, let's see. Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? 222-8255. Toll free, North Americans, 866-525-1099. Facebook, YouTube, and of course on WhatsApp at 318-1021. All right. Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? Yes.
That's our poll as we head
no.
towards 7 a.m. on this Monday morning.
Which you had a little play thing this weekend?
No.
No. I attended a play actually at Central Bank. Remember, I play on this week. Yeah, the one on autism. It was actually pretty good.
Okay.
And people should have really gone out to see that. It was funny, but yet, got those messages across. It was really, really good.
All right.
And I'm sure, people, I'm not sure they did, but people should have really gone out to see that play. It was really good.
Okay.
Beauty Culture says no. Ian Lee says no. Anne-Marie out at Enterprise Sugar Gorner says no. Somebody sent a voice note, but I can't play it. Let's see.
I thought about that issue of voice notes, Steve Khan. Because every now and then I listen to the Young Urban Station 94.1, and they have a segment where they actually play voice notes on air. Maybe might want to consider it, boss.
Well, I don't know. You see, I need to vet it first.
But I'm sure that they do sometimes.
I cannot go, I am sure. They vetted. I can't.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Richard P. Knight says no. Robert Harper says no. Okay.
There's an audition board and a switch on the board, right?
Yeah, but I can't do that while I'm live on here with the mic.
I just edit videos live on here and edit it and audition. Why you can't do it?
My name is not Paul Richards.
But I enjoy listening to links on Kevin Dunning and Kevin Baker. I even message them sometimes.
Yeah. Somebody else says no. Ray Garcia out in New York says no. Right? Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? Yes or no? Let us know where you're listening to us from. Oh, Catherine John Bristol. Okay. She had said no from before. Okay. Let's see. Did Ray... of course, Evie is going to walk in less than a minute with our major news, and then we'll have our guest next hour. Wendell, not counting. Can't wait.
No, I'll behave myself. Trust me, I'll behave myself.
Why start now? Let's see. Anything here? Anything here? Let's move this right there. Let's see. Oh, Beauty Culture is from Arima. Okay, Beauty Culture.
Beauty Culture.
All right, so our morning poll: should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? Yes or no? It will stay up on our mobile app and on our website at power102fm.com. All right. And Mo Gaines says no to the poll. Morning to AV. And there she is. Here she comes to save the day. Ready, Evie? All right. Let's get into our 7 o'clock major news On this, the 21st day of October, Avi is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
4 weekend murders engaged the attention of police. Former president of the Penal Debe Chamber of Commerce appeals for limited state of emergency following attack. Tobago's road fatality figure jumps to 9 as 3 young women lose their lives over the weekend. And the Children's Authority condemns the actions of a man seen physically and verbally abusing a child in a video circulating on social media. Details in a moment. This is news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. I'm Avril Sintel-Bab. Good morning. 4 weekend murders are engaging the attention of police. A suspended 54-year-old policeman was one of 4 people killed in separate murders hours apart on Saturday night. Police say Sheldon Peterson was sitting outside the Awesome Food and Drink supermarket with 2 other men at the corner of Eastern Main Road and Olton Road at around 7:30 p.m. when a beige Nissan Almera drove into the parking lot. Masked gunmen got out of the car and confronted Peterson, who reportedly struggled with one of his attackers. Peterson was able to pull out his licensed pistol and fire a shot, but was gunned down by the bandits who took his gun. The killers got back in the car and escaped. 2 bystanders sustained injuries to their left ankles and shins from the shooting. Officers from the Arima Special Investigations Unit visited the scene and found 6 9mm spent shells of various models. In the second incident, police said 21-year-old Nikolai Jack was liming with a group of people in an open yard at Cleaver Heights, Arima, when a white car drove nearby. Bystanders reported seeing a gunman get out of the vehicle and fire shots at the people gathered. Jack was hit several times in the midsection as the attacker got back in the vehicle, which sped off. Passers-by took Jack to the Arima hospital, where he was declared dead at 10:15 p.m. Karen Applewhite, 29, of Lavender Road, Fubo Village, San Juan, was killed around 9:35 p.m. on Saturday. The victim was liming along Saddle Road, San Juan, in the vicinity of Container Plaza when a white-colored Honda Civic motor vehicle bearing registration number PBT 5132 pulled alongside the victim, and one occupant armed with a firearm alighted. He opened fire on the victim, who ran to the opposite side of the road in the vicinity of Chin Chuck's Bakery. The suspect pursued the victim, who was shot several times about the body and collapsed. The victim was rushed to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex by a passerby in his vehicle. However, he was pronounced dead at 9:48 p.m. Former president of the Penal Debe Chamber of Commerce, Rampasad Siraj, is appealing for a limited state of emergency in what he describes as hotspots in the country. The call comes after he was reportedly attacked at his penal house recently by 3 men in masks. During the ordeal, his arm was twisted, elbow dislocated, he was chopped on his head, and valuables were stolen. Tobago's road fatality figure jumped to 9 as 3 young women were killed in Tobago when 2 vehicles collided head-on in Black Rock early yesterday morning. The deadly accident also left 3 others injured. Police say 20-year-old Aaliyah Williams, 23-year-old Makeda Frazier, and Patrice Julie Webb from Belmont in Trinidad died in the crash. According to police, the accident occurred close to 3 a.m. when the driver of a Mitsubishi Lancer reportedly veered into the path of a Nissan Latio, resulting in a head-on collision. Both drivers and a third person, Ricardo Tusa, sustained serious injuries and were being treated at hospital. Williams and Frazier were passengers in the Nissan vehicle, while Webb was seated in the Lancer. The incident pushed the island's road fatality figure to 9 for the year. Former People's National Movement Member of Parliament for Laventille West, Neolong Hippolyte, has passed away. Hippolyte died yesterday evening after recently being diagnosed with acute adult T-cell leukemia lymphoma, or ATL, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Following his diagnosis, Hippolyte made a public appeal to get the funds needed to get the treatment required, which could not be done here in the Caribbean. He required a bone marrow transplant. Hippolyte was first elected to the House of Representatives as Member of Parliament for Laventille West on November 5th, 2007, representing the constituents of Laventille West in the 9th Parliament. He was re-elected on May 24th, 2010. People's National Movement Chairman Stuart Young expressed sadness over the death. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. The Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has condemned the actions of a man seen physically and verbally abusing a child in a video circulating on social media. Once the video came to the authorities' attention, the customary procedures were put in place and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service was immediately contacted, according to the authority. In thanking the public for bringing attention to this incident, Sheldon Cyrus, Director and Chief Executive Officer of the authority, advised that the authority's emergency response team was activated. Cyrus urged parents and guardians to reconsider their approach to discipline, emphasizing the importance of reinforcing boundaries and expectations of behavior, rewarding positive actions, and administering age-appropriate consequences for undesirable behavior. He advised that discussions about inappropriate behavior should be held with children and suggested alternatives such as timeouts or temporarily removing privileges. Well, finally, here's weather news for the period today until midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, mostly hot, hazy, and breezy conditions with a low chance of brief isolated showers will transition to partly cloudy by late evening. There is a low chance of isolated heavy showers or thunderstorms favoring Trinidad. Nighttime will be partly cloudy to cloudy with a few showers and medium chance of isolated heavy showers and thunderstorms. Please note gusty winds and street or flash flooding may occur in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Also, there is a significant concentration of Saharan dust expected. Persons sensitive to changes in air quality are being advised to take the necessary precautions. You can expect a temperature high of 33 degrees Celsius at Piarco International Airport and 32 degrees Celsius at Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 27 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, 4 weekend murders engaged the attention of police. Former president of the Penal Davie Chamber of Commerce appeals for limited state of emergency following attack. Tobago's road fatality figure jumps to 9 as 3 young women lose their lives over the weekend. And the Children's Authority condemns the actions of a man seen physically and verbally abusing a child in a video circulating on social media. I'm Afril Sintil-Bav. That was news to 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you, Avi, for our major news. You can join Avi again come 8 o'clock for our news brief, and then alongside Sir Charles for major news at noon. Of course, our morning poll question: should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? Let's see. I got AJ saying no. I did move gains. Let's see what's up here. I got DJ Ray saying no. I got Trevin Arima saying yes. Right? Yeah. Okay. And that's what I've got.
So our poll this morning: should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children? We had 45 people voting on the poll this morning. Of the 45 people, 33 of you said yes. 33 of you said no, you don't think the law should be amended. And 12 of you said yes, you do think the law should be amended. So 33 people said no. The law should not be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children. And 12 of you said yes, it should be amended, for a total of 45. Of course, you can continue to vote.
Grigwell says yes.
So 13 people said yes, so it's now 46. So 1333, that's the numbers for today, or that's a picture. That's the poll for today. And of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through all programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning. Of course, I'm firmly in the camp that it should be amended.
You are. I'm neither here nor there, because, as I say, it doesn't matter to me. As long as people don't abuse their children. You know what I mean? Find a way of disciplining your children without abusing them the way you see sometimes. You know, it's only when these things come to light, this debate comes up, you know, but, you know, and then what? We have people saying how because of parents' actions, why children are committing all these crimes, because of parents' non-action, why they have so many children committing crimes and so on. So damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know, it's just, the place has got so tiring. It's got so tiresome. The politics, everybody has gotten so divisive, so hateful, so envious, so selfish. It wears me down sometimes, you know, when I think about it. And I go outside with my fishes and my turtles. That's what I do. I don't want to see or hear from humans sometimes.
Okay. While we wait for our guests to come online, you know that.
You know what's the animal girl on?
I found that video interesting. She's brave.
She is so absolutely fearless when she goes into these Trinidad areas, and she's interacting with every possible creature, and I'm like, hey, power to you, but I can't do that.
And she went in the water. You don't know what the hell in that water.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
After she sees a snake,
a
girl called the animal. Is it the animal lady? The animal lady.
I think it's animal girl they call her. Yeah.
Animal girl. That's her. That's her sobriquet, so to speak.
Yeah.
On social media.
She is holding these spiders and lizards and frogs with her bare hands.
That's here or no?
No,
yeah,
it's
a local video.
Oh, I didn't see that video.
She obviously she and a group of very of nature people and wildlife people that go around doing it, because apparently they go Costa Rica, they did one in Guyana and stuff, but they do a lot in Trinidad. But really, but interesting, eh? She's interesting, and she gets thousands and thousands of views. People really watch it.
But videos like that have always been popular, you know, with people. You know?
Send it for me, guys. Send it for me.
It's on Facebook. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, you can just search up for the animal girl. Really interesting content. But obviously, Wendell, brave. She's go out in the night and is in the night with torchlights and all of these creatures of the night in Trinidad are some really scary creatures in that forest.
Robert David.
It'd be like, what? We have all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, David, where's just send it for me? Let me tell you. A man is only a man until a cockroach fly, you know.
No, this is way beyond cockroach.
Yes, this is way beyond cockroaches. Trust me.
Way beyond.
All right. So I guess it's coming online shortly.
You
Animal girl.
Yes. We need to tell people who the guest is.
But it's Fitzgerald Hines, the Minister of National Security.
I know, but we haven't said that at all yet.
Was it a secret?
We haven't said it.
Oh, okay. Well, I just did. So we're waiting to speak to Fitzgerald Hines, the Minister of National Security. That's who we're waiting to see. I thought it would be something that would be advertised.
I thought so too. I thought we should. There's only one people everybody's cussed for and say, I go on, bye. Later.
And we didn't get that last time.
Even people here that say bye.
We didn't get that last week.
Go on, later.
So that's who we're waiting on. Of course, that is on this weekend. Remiss of me. That's extravagant news. What is the dark comes to the light is on this weekend on Saturday. Of course, it's just one show only, so it's Saturday alone at 8:30 p.m. at the Central Bank Auditorium, and of course that is a limited seating, so you should really get your tickets early because it's just one show at Central Bank Auditorium. This weekend, this is our final show in Port of Spain, and of course, the usual outlets apply. The Central Bank Auditorium box office opens from Wednesday, but tickets are available now. They've been available over the weekend at all the usual outlets: K Squared Fashions in West Mall and Eastgate and Brentwood Mall in Chaguanas, as well as Electronics in Arima, Jabili Rawi in Tunapuna, and Tony's Florals in Shafle and Anthony's Forest and Val Park Shopping Plaza and Champlain Auto Services in Champlain. Those are all of the outlets where you can get tickets absolutely right now. You can also purchase tickets online, so you can check RSRR Productions Theatre on social media for all of further information how to accomplish that. So looking forward to that at Central Bank. Central Bank is always like going home. It's like where we started, and so it's always and it's always incredible how each theatre has its crowd. Each theatre has people who prefer that theatre, and they come in droves to that theatre. It's very interesting, the dynamic that plays.
I tell you, the one theatre you could smooch and nobody knows when the lights go down. Kind of gives you a very romantic feeling when you're in Central Bank. You know?
Yeah, it's very intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Very intimate, yeah. Very intimate theatre.
Mm-hmm. Say it now, Paul, or ask it. It right there on the edge of your tongue.
How would you know what's on the edge of my tongue?
I could see it. I get accustomed to seeing it now.
I was wondering what you know about romance and intimacy. You signed up for these things.
Way back in the day I talking about.
Okay, you're not talking about now. You're not talking about not recently. Not recently. Not recently.
This piece of stone in my chest, incapable.
So you have 3 now then?
The stone I have in my chest. You know?
So you have 3 now then?
Yes, I do. And I was only used 2. He's real trouble, you know, Richard. You know that,
I'm ignoring you.
Morning, David Wares. Why are you trying to create confusion, David Wares? You're trying to create confusion. Confusion.
Right.
Video and thing this morning. Video for you this morning.
Clint Batiste, we have to talk. Seriously. I'm happy to see you're listening still and messaging.
Well, let's say good morning, good out to our guest, the Honorable Minister Fitzgerald Hines. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Khan. Good morning, Wendell, Paul, and
Richard.
Good morning to
all
of your
Minister Hines. I think,
listeners.
with the exception of Carnival, I've never seen this other jacket. With the exception of Carnival.
He's impeccably dressed already.
He's always in a full suit, and I've never seen him in a short sleeve shirt.
I can quite easily, if it pleases you, because very shortly I should be on my way to office as always. And if it pleases you, I can fetch my jacket.
No, that's fine.
That's fine. What you can do for me, Minister, is something is blocking your camera a little bit on your right hand side. Right, there you go. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Fixed.
Excellent.
Yeah, good morning, Minister, and welcome to the Power Breakfast Show. I mean, you're streaming to the program, so welcome.
And of course, let us offer condolences to the People's National Movement on the passing of Minister Hippolyte. Minister.
Former Laventil West MP and Parliamentary Secretary Nigel Hippolyte. Please accept our condolence. Because you would have replaced him in that seat, didn't you?
Yes, most certainly in 2015.
Yes.
Let me join in our expression of condolences to his family, his wife and children, and all of the folks who he loved and who loved him, including, of course, the constituency of Laventil West. All of the sentiments expressed since his passing were very similar in the sense that he was a man of dignity. He worked very, very hard. He represented his people with passion. And I join you all, I join Trinidad and Tobago in expressing condolences to all of his family and, of course, to the PNM, because we are just one big family as well. Thank you very much.
Condolences. Minister, would you care to weigh in on our question this morning?
Should the laws be amended regarding parents' use of corporal punishment to discipline their children?
Should the law be amended?
Yes.
I quite honestly, I understand the current pathways that the world has taken. I was a member of the Joint Select Committee back in, I think, 97, 98, which would have been chaired by Diana Mahabir Wyatt, when we did that in relation to the schools inside of the school system. But now the call has grown to what it is, whether it should be of more general application to reach into people's homes and that sort of thing, and inside of the families and so on. For my part, the jury is still very much out on that. I have not yet heard from the jury on that just yet. So I for the time being, understand the challenge that parents face to discipline children. I understand what that form of discipline did with me. It didn't cripple me. It didn't do me any harm, any irreparable harm. In fact, I think on the 2 occasions when my father applied corporal punishment, I remember them with fondness today. I mean, I must admit that, he might have thought those too severely or seriously teaching moments. And I must say I learned from them. On one occasion, I sought to be gambling. He gave me a small sum of cash. And after purchasing the things that we shared, I sat with my god brother, and this was a Christmas day, and decided to play a game of go to pack or something like that for the balance of the little cash that we had. And when I gleefully told my father that I had won, I saw him turn upside down because he thought he didn't want his son to be engaged in the business of gambling. And he took the opportunity to say so in his own way. And I must admit, it lasted all through my life because gambling is not part of my general operation.
Thank you for that. Minister, can you give us an update on, if you have any information, on the kidnapping of this 33-year-old businessman, Mr. Ramnarayan, and what are your thoughts on the seeming, I don't want to say resurgence, but the 2 high-profile kidnappings, well, 3, because one was, Ms. Hussein was fortunately ended properly, well, safely a couple of months ago, but now we've had one where someone was killed after a ransom was demanded, and one where someone is still, his whereabouts unknown. And this has been now 3 in the last 6 months or so.
Well, before I say that, just for completeness, let me say, at the same time, in respect of corporal punishment from parents and guardians, I do not expect, it is not desirable, because some people lose control of themselves in their anger or feigned anger and get to the point of high levels of brutality, which of course is not required. So I do understand the balance that has to be struck in the discussion, but as I said, the jury is very well out for me. In respect of the question that you have just raised, kidnappings for ransom is quite a serious crime. It is not new to Trinidad and Tobago, nor indeed new to the world. And it is a very traumatizing kind of crime. And I know of the 2 cases of which you spoke. They are gaining the attention of the police, and I am aware that the police are exerting best efforts to bring in them, particularly the one where the victim is still not yet recovered, bringing them to a swift and successful conclusion. We've had our spates of this before, and things were done. And I am aware as Minister of National Security that some other things are now being done in an effort to try to unearth the perpetrators and most of all to secure the victim in dealing with this. These are very, very serious and sensitive matters, and it requires a different type of policing because, different types of crime call for different kinds of policing. These are very difficult ones because you're dealing with a fragile situation where your victim, the person you want to secure, is not in your control, not even in sight. And therefore, those who have him in captivity, they have that advantage. So you are negotiating. There are police officers who would have gone abroad and who would have trained to deal with this. We've done it successfully before. And I'm confident that we can do it successfully.
Are there international players in this new spate of kidnappings?
I'm sorry?
Are there international players, non-national players in this new phenomenon of kidnapping? This new, I don't want to say wave because I don't want to give the wrong impression, but these new kidnappings.
When you say international players, you mean on the side of law enforcement, supporting law enforcement?
In the side of perpetrators.
Well, one at this point, one doesn't know because no one has been charged for the offenses yet. As I said, the police are engaged in their inquiries and their pursuit of the victim. So that is yet to be determined. But as I said recently to the national community, while most of the crimes that we traumatize over, and justifiably so, in Trinidad and Tobago have been perpetrated by nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, there are cases where foreign nationals have committed serious crime in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, there are cases where Trinidadians and Tobagonians go in other countries and commit very serious crime. In this day of the hitman, it is not unheard of that a hitman leaves one country and goes to do a job in another country. So it is possible, but the police have not yet determined that as a fact just yet.
Well, many years ago, we had a problem with kidnapping, and we got it under control in terms of I think the agency back then was SORT that that particularly looked at that issue and managed to make really serious inroads, bringing it down to virtually non-existent, at least for a couple of years or so. But now that we have seen a resurgence, I'm not afraid to say use the word like Paul. Now we have seen a resurgence of this happening in the country. Is it that the national security infrastructure has dropped the ball? Or what are we not doing that we were doing back then that minimized the occurrence of kidnapping?
I would not say that at all, Richard. Actually, the policy, the government's policy remained the same. The law enforcement platform faces and names would have changed, but they are working in the same policy. They would have trained similarly, locally and regionally and internationally. So I wouldn't say that the techniques are different. The technology has actually improved since that time. I was on deck at that time, I was minister in the Ministry of National Security along with Minister Joseph, may his soul rest in peace. And I'm very familiar with some of the things that were done there.
You're muted,
Yeah,
Minister.
he muted himself.
Yes, Minister, you muted your microphone.
He has to look at the camera to see us. Thing.
Yeah, you muted your microphone, Minister. Yeah, hold on.
Wave at him, guys.
All right. All right, Minister Hines, if you could unmute your microphone, we'll be able to hear you.
I think he leant over to touch his phone and may have muted it by accident.
No, I don't know where he disappeared to. There you go. Minister
Sorry
Hines.
about that, gentlemen. Sorry.
Right, there you go. Yeah. Right, go ahead.
Yes, gentlemen, I'm with you again. Sorry about that.
Minister, just to go a little further on with Richard's question just now. We know we have had several reports, or at least of alleged fake kidnappings. Okay, is that a concern that in some of these cases there might be actual hits on people that are under the disguise of a kidnapping?
It is all possible. The criminal in today's world is a very creative human being. The workings of the human mind are what they were, and in some cases we've seen that stranger things actually, Wendell. So it is quite possible. But again, as I said, the particular matter or matters of which reference was made a while ago are being investigated, and the facts will become clearer when that is resolved. But it is very possible that that can be the case. The one prior to the one that is being investigated now, a ransom was negotiated, and with the family, I am advised, and eventually the man was still found dead. Yeah. So you have all of these nuances. I don't want to comment. I should not comment more wholesomely on those matters, because those are facts to be determined by the investigators. So like you, I must wait. But I do know that they are in pursuit of this. And as I said earlier, I pray that they get to the bottom of this quickly. And you see, there's a deterrent element when you resolve these things very quickly and positively and wrap it up and arrest people like in the previous one, not the last one under investigation now, which yielded 2 police officers. That is very, very important because detection of crime, swift resolution of these crimes, and ensuring that the criminals do not benefit from the crime financially, it is very important as a deterrent in itself. And I think that is probably what we would have seen in that time back in 2005-06 when we had that problem when SAUTT treated with the matter.
How concerned then should we be? Sorry, let me just finish this point, Richard. How concerned then should we be in light of that particular kidnapping of Mr. Kunj Bihari that ended in murder? How concerned should we be of police officers using the equipment at their disposal to commit such crimes? How concerned should we be? Because we have not really heard anything from the police except a change in uniform and so on. How concerned should we be?
Very concerned, because the facts in the previous one revealed 2 police officers. And in Trinidad and Tobago, in our history, in our policing history, for decades, since the 40s, the 50s, all the way through to today, yes, we have found that police officers, trained and paid and sworn, have committed all kinds of crimes. I don't think there's a particular crime for which some police officer over those many decades have not been charged. And that is not unique to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. In fact, as you would have heard me say, speaking to you, crime is a function of the sinful, greedy, bullish nature of the human being. And whether he's a police officer, a teacher, a radio presenter, we are all vulnerable to committing crime, and certainly all vulnerable as victims. But we have to be concerned, because to whom much is given, much is expected. When we swear in and we enlist and we pay persons to protect us, and it turns out that they get involved in other things, then it is very, very disturbing. It is not new to us, and we treat with it as happened in the previous matter, where they are charged and they're before the court and the law must take its course. I mean, we have many cases of police officers committing crime. I think recently, yeah, we have many cases of that. So, you know.
But that's a recent order from the commissioner about the return of tactical uniforms because of the situation where fake or real police have been seemingly committing crimes using police uniforms, using tactical uniforms, pulling up in black cars with blue lights. Is that an indication that the police service feels that there has been the misuse of those uniforms by some officers? And what about the next phase of rooting out those officers? Because taking all the tactical uniforms out of the system is one phase, but the officers who are prone to committing those egregious acts will still be in the service.
Well, I took the trouble to find out, to inquire, and I am told from a respected and authorized spokesperson for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service that even in the last kidnapping, where issues of the tactical unit resembling that of the police officer arose, there has been no confirmation that it was actually police uniform. And in many cases where this discussion is not new, we've been here before, it is not demonstrated that it was actually police-issued uniforms. What you have is a case of kit resembling that of the police. So the matter that is in front of us now, confirmation that it was actually police uniform. Now, I saw the videos as everyone else did. And from my own personal, and I take it that this is only mine, you may have a different view. I did not form the view that it was any genuine police officers. They didn't look the part in terms of the way they operated, in terms of the actual uniform. It did not look the part. But of course, even if the victim of their crime did not form the view that they were police officers, they by then had guns pointed and were in control of the victim and in control of the scenario, such that no one else can have intervened to protect the victim, and they were able to take him away. So whether or not it is actually a police officer will depend on the facts. Whether or not it is actually police uniform will depend on the facts. But in any event, once the power and control is in the hand of the criminal in the scene, on the scene, then it is extremely difficult for the victim. He's taken away, and not for the first time put in a black vehicle resembling that which police officers would use with blue lights and taken away. So what is required here? Well, of course, the issue of the uniform is very, very important. And there is, of course, a crime when it comes to impersonating police officers, as you would know, a fundamental offense. I heard only last week in an interview with you all, a former commissioner was advising that the society and the police in particular ought not to pay attention to the issue around the uniform. So the crimes are which the uniform is used to perpetrate, whether it is police uniform or whether it is uniform looking like police. But I think the basic offense, because you can find someone, and the way the law is written in section 62, it takes into account, even if you are not wearing it and it is found in your possession at your home, or even if you are wearing it but not engaged in a crime, it is a standalone offense, and I think that makes great sense. So there is a standalone offense where you pay up to 30,000, and there's a term of imprisonment as well in section 62 for having what appears to be police uniform and using it in a manner to perpetrate crime, or at the least to hold out that you are a police officer. That is what impersonation is. So I support the fact that it is a standalone crime and it is important. And of course, if other crimes are committed using it or around it, well, certainly on the facts, on the evidence, persons have been charged and should be charged for additional criminal offenses, whether it's firearm or robbery or kidnapping or so. That depends on the facts, and then they will be charged, and they have been charged for additional offenses.
I don't disagree with anything that you've said there, Minister. But the issue of the police commissioner or whoever, and I have to say it's the police commissioner, sending out that memorandum of changing the units that can utilize that uniform, I felt, in my opinion, was a simplistic approach to the issue. The issue of dissuading people using uniforms is to catch them. That's the greatest dissuader to criminal activity, that you will be caught and you will be held accountable. And I don't know if you can frame this within all of the money that the Ministry of National Security has been allocated over the years, and the new camera network that was rolled out or is currently being rolled out. You have vehicles with flashing blue lights, people dressed in uniforms. The vehicles leave. At some point, they must get on roads where there are cameras, because Trinidad and Tobago has a finite amount of roads, and certainly you must get onto a main road, a highway of some sort, in terms of whatever criminal activity you have done. And sometimes I think citizens are a little bewildered as to whether those cameras are actually working, one, and whether there is real-time monitoring and following of vehicles in terms of solving of crimes. This is just one incident, but I go to the point that the issue of changing the uniforms is a kind of rote response that doesn't, to me, make sense, because no uniform has a magical quality of it that it can't be reproduced. So it means that the issues of reproduction of police uniforms can occur again unless you start catching and holding people accountable then people will say, look, it's a bad idea because I will be caught. And that's where I think it needs to be focused. But if you could address the issue of whether the technology is really making a difference, because for a lot of the citizens, they don't feel that it is.
Yeah, well, I can testify to the fact that the technology is making difference. It has, improved it as a technique that the police use in order to assist in dealing with crime. But of course, I agree entirely with you that it is catching them and detecting the offense and catching the criminals. That's the greatest deterrent. And this is why the way the system is structured, the police commissioner, she has jurisdiction for hiring and firing over all officers from the rank of assistant commissioner down to the last joint recruit. The law provides for that. The Constitution provides for that. And of course, the Police Service Commission has that similar jurisdiction in relation to the commissioner and the deputies. The laws are in place, the technology is in place, and this is why the society calls on the police, as you are now doing, to account for the way in which it carries out its work. And I agree with you that it is catching and detecting the offenses that is the major thing. But in fairness to the police, and I'm providing no defense for them, they will do that for themselves. In fairness to the police, there are many scenarios where the police, using the techniques, the telephone, using the CCTV cameras, using the vehicles, using the uniforms and all of this stuff, and using the roads and intelligence. There are many situations where they were able to catch people, sometimes in the act, sometimes fleeing the crime scene. And yes, like they have had many successes in terms of home invasions, intercept the people leaving the scene. They have solved kidnappings, they have solved murders. So it's a question of more and more, and the society is entitled to expect more and to hold the police service accountable. Part of my job as Minister of National Security is to hold the police service accountable. And yes, I agree with you that we ought to the society is entitled to expect and to look forward to more.
Well, Minister, I mean, just to go along with what Richard asked, and you've just attested that the technology, they are in fact working. Why aren't we being told? Because one of the part of gaining the confidence of the citizenry is at least to let people know that this has worked. We were able to track this vehicle through this road. We saw where it went, and we have captured the perpetrators. Why isn't that being done?
Well, to some extent,
additionally, the detection rate.
I would agree with you that more can be done. More can be done in that regard, Wendell. It has been done. I've seen the police display successes, say about it. But of course, as you know, as media people, good news travels a lot slower than bad news. And it is the same for complaints. When there are issues of satisfaction, the society reacts, yes, and it is satisfied, but they are not as vociferous. We are not as vociferous in our satisfaction as we are in our dissatisfaction, but it is for the police in that regard to do more. But they have had some successes, and I can only urge them to do more. I think, as you would have heard me say, not just the police service, but Trinidad and Tobago's entire workforce. I believe as a person, as a citizen, and as a minister, that we can be more productive, we can do more, we can achieve more with the results we have. If Trinidad and Tobago's workforce would improve our productivity quotient, so to speak.
Minister, one of the things that my understanding is that is happening continuously is the issue that despite the investment by the Ministry of National Security in jammers and other technology to deal with inmates calling hits from inside prison wall, this practice continues unabated, and quite a large number of the crimes we are seeing committed are originating still in the prisons, in addition to the fact that the prison is supposed to be a no communication zone and a no-fly zone. But my understanding is that drones are still dropping contraband continuously inside the prisons, particularly in the East. Can you comment on these two issues, please?
Well, I am not in a position to say that it continues unabated because I happen to have some information as Minister of National Security that the public may generally not have. So I would not say that it has continued unabated. I have seen and I'm told in regular reports of the impact of the technology and the inability to communicate in the way you have described in many, many situations and cases. Yes, there is an increase in, and you see, as you improve one aspect of the security platform, the criminals move and improve their techniques in the next. So it's always a game of catch up, and in some cases there's some anticipation and you put things in place. So yes, we have seen more frequent use of drones, and that's because other ways have proven to be a little more difficult. But it is a work in progress. It is always happening like that. Some people may say a cat and mouse thing because the mice is always there to pounce, and the cat is always there watching and to pounce on the mice as it guards the cheese. So it is an ongoing thing. So the drone issue is real, but that is being attended to in different ways. I can't tell you of the details of that because it's part of the techniques that they use, but they have been successful in dealing with many, many, many drones. But yes, there are incursions with drones. Recently, the prison authorities searched and found a mass of phones in a particular facility. From me, what I learned from that, it is that with all of the technology you have, the question of integrity and the individual. We spent money on a 360 radar system, but one officer without integrity might be able to turn a blind eye and render that expensive equipment useless if he or she is compromised. As a result of that, you find yourself now having to deal with a fundamental issue of integrity. And that is to say, police officers understanding that the public pays and they are sworn to behave in a certain way, and they must do that. So one of the things we did recently is to go to Parliament with an integrity and other modern means of integrity testing for prison officers, police officers, fire officers across the gamut. Paul, you would know because you would have dealt with this in another place and supported it. And now the work is ongoing as you do more and more to secure integrity, because when they did the search and they found out
He's probably getting calls.
Yeah, somebody keep calling his phone, that's why.
Not somebody's public life is like that, gentlemen.
I figured that was happening.
And the only time you have a zone of peace is the 4.5 hours that you sleep during the night. And when you get up, you look on the phone and you see that there were calls.
That's part of the job. The issue of integrity testing, I wanted to ask one question before we have to end about if you have concerns about police officers engaging in what is described as moonlighting. I know the protocol is that the commissioner must approve officers, for example, doing private security work or having interest in, for instance, bars, which I understand is quite, I don't want to say prevalent, but an issue. Do you have concerns about these kinds of potential conflict areas where officers are concerned?
If you are speaking about the most recent incident with the police sergeant who unfortunately, and I extend condolences to his family and the police service as well, who lost his life, there's a suggestion that he was what you call moonlighting. That particular officer was, I am told, on suspension, but even if an officer is not in suspension, the law permits the commissioner to grant permission to officers of the police service to conduct other business once the commissioner is satisfied that it will not affect their performance of their police duties. And over the years, officers have been so authorized. Within recent times, we, the government, recognizing this, raised the issue with the police service and expressed our concerns about that, particularly when the society is quite justifiably calling for more of the police. That was done, and that matter is under review and treatment by to say to you, I hold you all directly accountable. I saw a video recently on social media where you had former Commissioner Gary Griffith. And as far as I'm concerned, as I listened to that interview, I spared a little time because my approach has been to ignore him as a time-wasting nuisance sometimes. But on that occasion, and I'm happy that I did, I decided to listen to a bit of it. And the more I listened, the more I heard untruths and perhaps downright lies. And I hold you all accountable for that, because when you all have information to share with your listening public like this morning, I think you all need to call serious people. Mr. James Filbert, who in that interview I heard this Gary Griffith casting snide criticisms and remarks on about a national award. I mean, it's so undignified and classless, especially when it is not founded in truth. You have James Filbert alive, you have Mr. Williams alive, you have Mr. Jacob alive, you have Mr. Snaggs alive, you have
But
Mr.
you use your good office to have them acquiesce to interviews, Minister.
Yeah.
I will, if I don't think
we've been trying to get them on without success.
Minister, yeah, exactly. We have tried and they have said no. We have tried and they refuse to answer their phone.
But I don't know that the minister could coerce former commissioners. He
I never said coerce. I said invite and encourage.
But they are all men of some dignity who I respect, and we share mutual respect. And I will take the trouble to reach out to them and mention what you have. But in the course of that discussion, I saw this former yapping, noisy, undignified, in my view, frankly speaking, commissioner.
Minister behave. We stop him when he speaks ill about people too.
Let me just say this, right? And I heard him go on at least 3 occasions, and I thought he should have been stopped or thrown out. But in any event, he displayed a police badge. Do you know it is against the police standing orders and against Section 55 of the Police Service Act if what he displayed is a genuine badge? Because I can tell you, it is not beyond people to display what appears to be a genuine police badge, and it may be a police badge but not his. But if it were his, then the law in Section 55 of the Police Service Act demands that you hand over all items of kit to the police service upon your departure from the office, whether you are resigned, whether you retire, or whether you are fired. You have to hand it over. And when I saw the display of that badge, I took some concern. It is even in breach of Standing Order, Departmental Order 134 of the Police Service. And what irked me in the discourse to which I just spoke, is that there were so many inaccuracies, so many untruths, and it is unfair to your viewers and listeners to listen to him in that. And therefore, I would certainly have a word with my friends, the former commissioners, exercise some moral suasion, and hope that they would join you all so that the public will benefit from serious discourse on serious matters from formerly career officers who have the facts and have no political or other acts in a half-educated way.
You reference the badge that Mr. Griffith displayed, and your own was you don't know if it's legitimate, you don't know if it's a TTPS badge, and to me, only the sitting commissioner would know if the badge was returned or not. So I think you have
and the law provides that the former office holder hand it over. And the law provides for a criminal offense if that's not done. And the law provides that a warrant could be
well, there's a lot of ifs in there because you don't seem to know if it was legitimate, if it was handed over or not.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's no ifs in what I've just said. I'm telling you what the law provides.
I'm not talking about the law. I'm talking about the badge that was displayed. Do you know if it is a modified badge?
I can't know. I didn't have sufficient sight of it to know whether it is an authentic badge and whether it is his or whether it's an authentic badge belonging to another police officer who may have. I have no idea, but I do know that a police badge ought to be handed along with other items of kit back to the police service.
Well, wouldn't the commissioner know that, the sitting commissioner? Or shouldn't the sitting commissioner know that?
Well, it would have preceded her, wouldn't it? There was McDonald Jacobs in between.
I don't wish to get into the more details about it because there's where all the ifs will come in. But I've just stated to you what I saw and what the law is and how your viewers and listeners could benefit from more serious discourse on the serious business of the perpetration of crime against this society, whether, as largely is the case, by citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, or whether it is on the fewer occasions when foreigners come here and commit crime. And I agree with your implicit suggestion that we are to expect more from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and I would like to see more from the entire workforce of Trinidad and Tobago. Greater productivity will yield better results, it will grow the economy, the quality of life will improve, and we will all be satisfied when we go to bed that we did a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. If all police officers could say that and go beyond the call of duty as they're expected to do, and all other elements of the workforce could do that, then Trinidad and Tobago will be better served and be in a better place.
Point taken. I just want to correct David, whereas first division officers are in fact gold-plated badges, and inspector down are silver-plated badges, right? So they have there are gold-plated badges for first division officers.
And then I finally, and then I heard him say so flippantly and deceitfully and deceptively that they canceled the badge. That's not true. Nobody canceled it.
We did say that the day after.
But he likes to present himself like some victim, when in fact he's just simply a nuisance.
He's a politician, Minister. He's a politician now, you know.
But I'm a politician too, but I hope never to be justifiably branded a nuisance. And I hold you all accountable for that. But I will speak to my friends, as I have said twice, and try to persuade them so that your viewers and listeners will get what you really intend for them, seriousness rather than trifling.
Additionally, Minister, if we could have the commissioner on our program as well.
Again, I would exercise moral suasion in this regard, and I give you the assurance. Gentlemen,
that's what we want. The current commissioner we want.
I would like
Let's
to thank
get the
you for
current
your
commissioner
time.
first.
Yes, I would like to thank you for your time. Good luck, but I must depart my home now and proceed to the office to do my work as I do in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago.
Minister, thank you very much. And I have to speak with you, but I'll speak with you another time, later.
You're more
Thank
than
you very
welcome.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. All the best to you.
Thank you, Minister.
All right. Of course, that was the Minister of National Security, Minister Fitzgerald Hines.
Oh dear.
The
program got this.
A whole video coming out today, right? Or you know,
This program gone viral.
Whole video coming out today, right? You all know that, right?
The program gone viral for sure now. Ruben, you got your wish.
Whole video coming out today.
Ruben, you got your wish.
So just reminding you that theaters on this weekend, that's extravagant news. What in the Dark Comes to Light is on at Central Bank Auditorium on Saturday. One show only in Port of Spain at 8:30 p.m. Tickets available at the usual outlets and at the Central Bank box office from Wednesday. Check our RR Productions Theater on social media for more information. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and remember to smile and laugh. It's great for your health.
Indeed it is. Folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God. Bye-bye.
All right, gentlemen, be safe. Chat with you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. All right, let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief. AV is here.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is time for your news update at 8 o'clock. I'm Afril Cynthia Bab. Good morning. The police are engaged in their inquiries into the recent kidnappings by men in police and army gear, and hopefully inroads will be made soon. This is according to Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines, who spoke on the Power Breakfast Show this morning. He said that while there were a number of kidnappings in years gone by, the difference now is that new technology has been developed since then that allows law enforcement to make inroads into investigations of this type of crime. Asked whether some of these cases could be hits ordered on individuals disguised as kidnappings, the minister said with a criminal mind, that is quite possible. In light of the case of kidnapped businessman Sachal Kunj Behari recently, the minister said that we should be very concerned that officers could use their positions to carry out criminal activities on members of the public. However, Minister Hines said that he was told by a senior law enforcement officer that there has been no confirmation that the uniforms used were actual police-issued uniforms. He said from the videos of the uniforms, he also did not form the view that that they were original uniforms. However, he said the fact still remains that the uniforms and vehicles used closely resemble that of local law enforcement, which is a matter of concern. Former president of the Penal Bay Chamber of Commerce, Rampersad Siuraj, is appealing for a limited state of emergency in what he describes as hotspots in the country. His call comes after he was reportedly attacked at his penal house recently by 3 masked men. Tobago's road fatality figure jumped to 9 as 3 young women were killed in Tobago when 2 vehicles collided head-on in Black Rock early yesterday morning. The deadly accident also left 3 others injured. And the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago has condemned the actions of a man seen physically and verbally abusing a child in a video circulating on social media. The authority said once the video came to the authorities' attention, the customary procedures were put in place and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service was immediately contacted. Well, that was your update to 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. It is 1 minute after the hour of 8 o'clock on this, the 21st day of October, and she's back. I'm talking about Dennise Demming. Good morning to you, Dennise.
Good morning. Good morning. And how have you been?
Not bad. Fair to find, few scattered showers. It's been a hectic weekend, I'll tell you that.
Hi, Dennise. I haven't seen your guest logged on yet. I sent the email, so maybe sometimes you could just send them a message. Sometimes they click on the link, but they don't enter the studio.
All right. All right. Can you just take me off for a minute?
Sure. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Paul. It's been so long. All of 2 minutes. All of 2 minutes.
Well, that's like you, isn't it?
No, that's more like Wendell.
Okay.
Let me, while we wait for Denise's guest to get on, let me just tell you what the weather forecast is going to be like for today. They said, we really have to get somebody from the Met Office in our program. They said yesterday it's going to be totally overcast. Blazing hot sun whole day.
It's overcast in some areas. It rained a bit by me. So you talking about
no rain by me.
Well, that is you. So you're talking about your location, but maybe other areas are overcast and raining.
But the Met Office loves to give a broad picture of where the weather is. So I don't know.
Maybe they have a limited equipment or technology.
No, they just commissioned a new radar system.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they're still training. People just take a while to train. Technology take a while to kick in this country. So
that is so true. We've heard about that.
Maybe it's like the body count. You have to train on it, and then it might fall.
That's where I was heading to.
You understand?
That's where I was heading to. But the Met Office says today is going to be mostly hot and hazy, breezy conditions with a low chance of the brief isolated shower. It will transition to partly cloudy by late evening. There's a 30% low chance of the isolated heavy shower. All right, or thunderstorm favoring Trinidad this evening. There's a medium chance of the isolated heavy shower. Gusty winds that I got yesterday.
Abigail is saying that you could use Google whether it's more accurate.
That's what I use. That's what I use.
What are you complaining about?
That's what I use. And I have another one up here. But it's Trinidad and Tobago, and the Met Office, it's Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service. So if it's going to rain in South Trinidad, or maybe they should use the different areas, and but to have a broad picture. Like the weather I am watching here, they say tomorrow is going to be rain. That's what they're saying. Let me just pull it up here. The Met Office for tomorrow, they said 78% chance of rain. Met Office for tomorrow is saying 60%. I will go with Google. All right. Yeah. And of course, traffic wise, yep, you're going to get it. Where you think you're going to get it, you will get it. All right. Traffic is very heavy east-west corridor. Pretty much a little lighter from Barrataria.
They all came back from Taylor.
Well, some of my friends that took their children to Taylor Swift over the weekend, I think they're taking the week. So the shop. A lot of people went to Texas as well for the Formula One race. Yesterday as well, out in Houston.
Welcome back, Demming. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
How was your sojourn?
My sojourn was absolutely brilliant. I went to the Grenadines.
Wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Here's a takeaway that I have from that. Trinidadians need to start using the Caribbean for our vacations.
Well, if it weren't so expensive to travel in the weekend, in the region, that has been a long-standing issue, the taxes to land in some jurisdictions. We would love to travel throughout the Caribbean, but it's actually cheaper for me to go to New York and Miami very often than go to Jamaica and Barbados and Grenada.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. And I'm saying that if we want to improve the Caribbean, we have to do something about the airfares. Most of the airfares are very high because of the taxes.
Yeah. So I don't know why CARICOM hasn't dealt with that, because at a conference I attended years ago, it was stated that intra-regional travel alone can bolster local jurisdictions' tourism output by over 100%. It could double with intra-regional travel. But the pound, what is it? The pound foolish and penny stupid. What is it?
Pennywise, pound foolish.
So they grab any taxes, but they don't realize you will get even more volume travel if you lower the taxes.
Correct.
Because the Grenadines, when I tell you the Grenadines is beautiful, absolutely. The ocean is, you can see 12 foot of ocean right through to the bottom, through the water. You can see fish, all of that. But I really think that Trinidadians need to just go sometimes to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Not everybody has your resources, Demming.
No, you could do it. You could do it.
You saying so.
No, but Dennise,
for me, when I try to go to Jamaica or Barbados or Grenada, and I see the prices of the tickets, it's ridiculous. It's just it's easier to get the carriers to New York and Miami. They're so competitive in those routes that the prices of tickets are much less.
Yeah.
So what chose vacation to me? I could go to Tobago and get the same salt and sand,
No, you can't.
Well, it'll cost me a lot less.
Yeah. When you have carriers coming to Trinidad twice a day to take you to Miami and to New York, a lot of Trinidadians would love to go to St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Kitts, but CARICOM needs to come together to make it affordable.
Yeah.
And as Paul said, the volume they'll make up for everything.
Yeah.
Let's jump on a plane every other month and go to Grenada or Barbados.
My other observation is and this is throughout the Caribbean, because I've done some work on this, is that our transportation systems are totally irregular and totally not organized. And if you want to improve your country, the transportation system has to be regularized. And it is the same thing throughout the region, and they're all beginning to follow Trinidad. Where you could just be driving and stop, so you don't have to a side lane thing where you can put people down and pick them up and so on. You don't have that. You don't know when the schedules are coming. There are no schedules. So transportation is another major issue that the region needs.
No bus service on a public holiday.
No bus service normally.
Well, we've spoken about that at length.
I wonder what is happening with my guest.
I don't know.
I'll take off my camera and try again.
Last word. Yeah, but they need, and I don't know, for so many years that we've been talking about that issue with the taxes to travel within the Caribbean. But it just goes in one end, comes out the next. When you could go to Panama twice a day, American has 2 flights, JetBlue, Frontier just came in to take advantage. I don't know. I really don't. Even British Airways flights to Gatwick the flights are packed. I don't know. They really need to do that. And I'm very surprised that CARICOM didn't come up with a plan yet regarding airfare within the region.
Because all the islands fighting against each other stupidly.
That's it, Paul.
All the islands always, they vex that Cal gets subsidized gas, so they want to stay as a whole. But CARICOM can't deal with this if they wanted to effectively. I just think it's such a stupid
If they had
thing.
the will, they could do it.
You could make so much money. One second.
They could do that. I would love to run away to one of the islands just for overnight, just to get away. Just for one night. Go in the morning, come back the next day in the evening or something like that, or whenever the flights are. But, it's like pulling teeth. A lot of Trinidadians and Tobagonians fly to St. Martin, but even to get there is a long trip. Because, Cal has a flight now.
So where?
To St. Martin. A direct flight to St. Martin. Sometimes it goes to St. Martin to Jamaica, Jamaica to St. Martin, back to Trinidad. But if you want to go to St. Kitts, you have to take you got to go to St. Lucia, you got to go to St. Martin, take the Inter-Caribbean to St. Kitts. That's almost a whole day traveling. A few hours well.
I found it's just less.
Whereas you could just spend $200 again and fly direct to Miami and New York.
To go direct Miami and New York, it's a lot cheaper and you get a lot more deals.
Yeah.
You go to those, and you're going much further. That's the weird thing about it.
That's it. When I'm checking flights, I use Google Flights. And then they can track it for me, and I compare with Expedia and so on.
Caribbean is not, well, remember they're talking about some ferry something a couple of months ago. But,
when was that supposed to start?
Yeah,
but that is, and if I think you could carry a car on the ferry. Are you allowed to drive in that country with your car? They're giving you a permit? I don't know. They have not.
Of course, you can drive with your car.
No, that you could take your car across to the island using the ferry.
Well, I'm sure they'll put all that in place. One would imagine it's not brain surgery.
I don't know when that ferry is going to come online. I would love it to come online as soon as possible.
I find all these conversations tiring. They're 20 years old with no
outcome, no resolution.
20 years old with no progress. These old 20, 25-year-old conversations that I've been having since I'm in media, and they're going nowhere fast.
Yeah. Did you get a hold of your guest, Dennise?
Yes, I did, and he's trying to do it on his phone. So
that's for him. That's going to take an entire day.
Okay, so what do we do?
What I have come to realize that when I see someone with a Hotmail or a Yahoo address, it tells me a lot immediately. I know people are going to have trouble when I say Yahoo, Hotmail.
Hotmail? What is Hotmail?
Yeah.
Is it a telephone number like
Stop being like that.
I tell myself, this is going to be problematic.
No, there are people who still use Yahoo, still use Hotmail, and maybe I should have done something different.
My prayers are with them.
Yeah.
But Paul, I want to go back to that. You're saying that you're tired of these conversations that you've been having for 20 years. I want you to become re-inspired, because if we don't change it, nothing will change in our country.
You know how much breath I take in these conversations?
Yes, and
I waste these conversations for 25, 30 years. You know how much air when I was bushy-eyed and young and all have all the optimism and stuff I've seen over and over administration go. So many of these problems, and it's not even as basic problems. Like I saw you posted about the run over the weekend and people parking indiscriminately around the savannah. Why is it just that, and having a massive run like that without police accompaniment all through the way?
Well, it's because I think our police is not properly structured. Because if police cannot manage a race, I don't know what they're going to be able to manage.
And then there's a financial point to that too.
Which is?
Sometimes the police to do extra duties, the organizer, if there's for example, a party, you have to pay.
This was, I much suspect that an institution like RBC would not minge on police accompaniment for a race where their clients and supporters are coming out in that number to support them. It's not, I don't think it's an issue of I think it's an issue of planning and expertise and structure.
I'll give you an example of, and I heard this in the background, of what happened with that race. They paid the police 2 months ago. They applied to the police for their support and for help with the management and so on. 2 months ago. Friday, the police responded.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, and then you when you're organizing something that massive, to get a response on a Friday for Sunday or Saturday, you're all your logistics in place already. You can't change the direction of the run or reduce the numbers participating because the police say, well, we only have 5 officers or we only have 10 officers.
No, but you see, they paid for the officers. And Paul, what bothered me doing that race is you're going up Long Circular and you're on the road, because it's a lot of people, so you can't be on the pavement. You're on, and you are running in the same direction as the traffic. And people are just driving without even considering that they're seeing people running on the road. Well, slow down now. That was all along Long Circular. Then when we turned right onto Patna Street by Long Circular Mall, there, same thing is happening. You're on the street, but people are just passing and you're going in the same direction. Then you went down to George Cabral, same thing. The worst part of George Cabral was when you hit George Cabral on Western Main Road, because you then had to move onto the other side of Western Main Road because the next...
So they had no barriers along the way?
There were cones, but people don't take on the cones.
Well, I don't understand what that means, quite frankly, because if you're having a race, you train people, you stay within the cones. That the police can't look for people who are not taking on the cones.
When I say people, I don't mean the runners. The runners stay with
the drivers.
Is it drivers?
Well, that's where police come in.
You needed to have police at every intersection.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the other one that bothered me was running up Audrey Jeffers. And again, you're going in the same direction as the traffic.
You don't know what's coming behind you.
You don't know what, but you're hearing it.
Yeah. A very dangerous situation. I'm glad it ended up with no one getting hit. Those are dangerous situations.
The next police I saw was at the corner of Cipriani Boulevard and Ariapita Avenue. And even on Ariapita Avenue, I had to run around out of the cone because a garbage truck was in the cone. Then another, it was just horrible. And I felt very, very nervous. And if you're going to try to run...
And people around with children and stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody doing the 15K with children. But they were young people, you're quite right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to do something like a 15K, which is a little more than 9 miles, you can't be nervous.
You want to be relaxed.
You have to be relaxed.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So yesterday was, the sponsors are doing very well. They're trying very hard. But something is going on in this country that's just not making anything make sense. And there are no consequences. So take a deep breath.
And that's what I'm so fed up with the conversations. It's sad to say, but with the present crop of lack of visionary heads, I just don't see, the problem is that you have to be able to look at macro and micro at the same time. You can't, it's not that difficult. These are not difficult things to organize and to implement if people know what they're doing. But people don't seem to know what they're doing, or square pegs in round holes, and it's just so frustrating. So, and these are not innovative, high cognitive yield load things. These are basic. A road race is supposed to be a basic thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're having 7,000 people. The race is 15K. You have several turns to make. Some of the roads are inadequate, so you need more care in some of the routes, in some parts of the routes, because of the the topography of the thing, you know where to put people. Come on, it's like, really?
There were people all along. So there were marshals, who we call marshals. But those are civilians. Those are not police people.
Nobody take on road person, take on vehicle person, take on a civilian.
Exactly. I sometimes volunteer on the management of races. And if you don't have a police with you, a car is not going to stop.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing. And you know what bothers me? Whenever I do a race in another country, the thing is so well organized. The first thing they do is they close the roads.
Yeah. That's what kind of surprised me too, because the race is like, that race is about an hour and a half.
No, well, no. The 15K would take you about 3 hours. Some people take 3 hours to do it.
And you started at what, 6 a.m.?
Yes, at 5:45.
So you can't lock off the road. That route, I guess, long circuit will be difficult.
You see,
parts of the route.
Exactly. You can lock off the route according to how the race is going. You know, so some will open depending and so on. So you start off around the savannah, lock off the savannah, and then you open that back up. So there are systems and strategies and processes that you could use in order to do it. Because listen, if Toronto could close,
a major city like that, yeah.
Then what is our problem? You know, so
they probably don't see the value of it on a wider scale.
You know, that might be true, but Paul, my opinion is that on a wider scale, our structures, our systems, our processes have failed. And we're not investing enough time in redesigning them, in working out how else can we do this, in looking at what are the consequences if you don't do this. I'll give you another thing that's on my mind. Every time I travel, I'm amazed at how people can just cross the streets, and not that they disobey the rules, but the traffic just allows them to. So what happens?
Well, in those jurisdictions, there are places you cross the street. They don't cross the street everywhere like here. Okay? They don't see a white line crossing zone and cross 6 feet up. There's also discipline on both sides of it.
It is, Paul. But my bottom line is consequences. Because there are no consequences, then people do whatever they wish.
You need to do it, yeah.
And my other thought about it is we no longer have those crosswalks. Most times
we have some, as I said,
we have a few.
but there is no inculcation of a discipline, because these same people go to New York and go by the corner to cross, walk up, cross and walk back down, because it's unthinkable to cross in the middle of the road because you're going to get a jaywalking charge. You're going to get it.
Yes, yes. So
you know, if but or maybe you're going to get it.
We're going.
That's a law in Canada, you know, and they're strict with that.
We're going back to what I have been saying. There are no consequences, and I'm not talking about only consequences for drivers. I'm saying there are no consequences. You just cross the road, you do it, and you're watching man, and you behave as if we're doing.
Bonksman.
Yeah, bonksman, as opposed to being charged. But Paul, we have a bigger problem. My guest is unable to join us.
All right, well, we had a wonderful conversation. You see, you're still at a conversation. And we will see you again on Wednesday.
Thank you very much, Paul. All the best to you.
So let's go on Google and get a Gmail account and upgrade his life, please.
I will spend the rest of the half hour chatting with my guest to see if I can get my guest to change his system.
And your guest was a former Minister of Transport.
Yes.
There you go. You see any problems?
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Hotmail, Yahoo, and
There is a connection between government policy and law in the sense that all laws start as some type of government policy. So, for example, in Trinidad and Tobago, we would have had the recent national policy on persons with disabilities. And that policy talks in very strong terms about the need to both enact laws to provide for the human rights of persons with disabilities. It also talks about the need to amend laws that we have on our statute books right now that discriminate against persons with disabilities. So once that policy is adopted and approved by the cabinet, then the process of making it a law can begin. The difficulty with the policy remaining as a policy, two things. One, it's not enforceable. So it does not really give you any rights legally because it's just a policy, it's not a law. And the other thing is that policies can change over time. Policies can change over time as the needs of the government or the focus of the government itself changes. It can change if the government itself changes, so that it's not enough for us to say, well, we have a policy. We have to take that further step to make the policy a law, because that is what will give full protection for the human rights of persons with disabilities.
And your reason being?
I'll tell you right. So good morning to everyone.
Morning.
Obviously, you'll want to make sure that there's a heavy deterrent. But what is the reason for it? For someone to wear a police uniform illegally, it is not that he's wearing the police uniform to go in a roadblock to get a girl's phone number, or that he's wearing a police uniform in a girl's shower. You're wearing a police uniform to take part in a very violent crime. So the present charge, I think, is under Section 62. It's $30,000 or 3 years imprisonment. But you're wearing the police uniform to take part in a violent crime, and that is what the focus should be on. So in other words, if you wear a police uniform and you're arrested because you try to kidnap someone, kidnapping should be the non-bailable offense. If you're wearing a police uniform with an illegal firearm to abduct someone or to steal from someone, having access to an illegal firearm is a non-bailable offense. So the wearing of the police uniform is only a byproduct to the bigger picture. So lifting the fine for someone wearing a police uniform is not going to be the deterrent. What should be is the reason for them wearing the uniform. The reason for them wearing the uniform on most occasions is to kidnap someone, to rob someone, to be involved in something in a very serious manner that can infringe the rights of citizens, whether it be kidnapping, rape, armed robbery. Those should be the non-bailable offenses. So that the focus should be on the reason for them wearing.
Yeah, I understand.
I understand that.
Yeah, so good morning, Gary, and welcome again to Power Breakfast Show.
Morning. And to that topic, what could put an end to it is this. Remember this? There was a reason why I implemented this to all police officers, because we had the concern of police officers, persons impersonating police officers. The badge specially made very difficult, if not impossible, for you to try to imitate. What we told the public is that anytime a police officer comes to you, you need to ask them, let me see your badge, and the badge will have a number, and the number would be linked to your police ID card.
No, I looked at the video where this young man was kidnapped, and I didn't see a badge. I didn't see anything around. I didn't have it under their T-shirt.
Yeah,
but I did not see anything. And as you said earlier, when you brought that, when that whole badge issue came out and everybody had to wear it, that it must be visible.
Correct. So Ulla Christopher, who was voted and supported by the UNC and the PNM to be commissioner, she shut that down. This was mandatory. You must wear the badge. And Ulla, in her wisdom, everything that Gary Griffith did, let's shut down. So now you have, thanks to Ulla and Old McDonald, Jacob, they have gone out of their way to make it easier for criminal elements to imitate police officers, just because Gary Griffith implemented the badge. The badge was an avenue to prevent this or minimize.
Well, I did not know it was shut down.
Yeah, it was. That's why it's not mandatory anymore. That's why police officers are not wearing it. It was mandatory that you must have
some wearing it.
Yeah, because they like it, not because they need to. We put it as a standing order. You had to wear it. And it meant that if you confront any citizen, they ask, let me see your badge, similar to what you will see in North America. And the badge must also go with your ID card to have the number. The other aspect pertaining to that, when up to now, the police have not been able to confirm or deny that those were police officers. Reason being is that we had GPS tracking on every police vehicle. Had that continued, similar to the operational command center, the commissioner's command center, and the GPS tracking, the police within 5 minutes could have stated to the public There was no police vehicle at that location at that time because the GPS tracking will show that there was no police vehicle there. That was removed, so they don't know who's police and who's thief because they can't pinpoint where the police vehicles are stationed. So you don't know if it was a police vehicle or if it was someone who just got a blue light, purchased it illegally, and utilized it. Had the GPS tracking to monitor every police vehicle remain, the police would have been able in 5 minutes to tell the country that was not a police vehicle.
But in your opinion, in terms of looking at that video, Gary, do you think that those fellas moved like police officers, or it's hard to determine?
Well, it could be hard to determine. I mean, obviously, their tactical movements and stuff showed up more like gangsters or bouncers rather than trained police officers. But not every police officer is highly trained in the art of armed conflict, counter-revolutionary warfare, knowing how to operate, how to hold a weapon, how to move. So they could very well be police officers who have been on suspension for several years. We have 300 of them for the last 10, some of them for 10 years, getting $10,000 a month, costing the taxpayers $50 million per annum. So you can have officers who may have been in administrative work and they never held a firearm for years. So they would not know, some of them have never gone in a range. So it's hard to, it's not just to appreciate the fact that every police officer is highly trained to understand how to hold a weapon, how to move in a situation for armed conflict. As it is, obviously there was very improper training, but it doesn't mean it does not make them a police officer.
Yeah, but how does the TTPS, navigate this problem? Now, in my opinion, this should be one of the #1 things that they're working on at this point that ramps up in terms of priority, because it involves the dependability, the image of the TTPS, people's respect for the safety of a police officer coming to them. It undermines all of that. So in my opinion, it should be priority #1 in terms of catching those guys, in terms of reinstilling that sense of confidence, which has been depleted over the years. What's your take in terms of that? Would you agree that that should be a priority in terms of this particular kidnapping, or you don't see it that way?
No, definitely. I mean, when I became commissioner, with public trust and confidence being 14% at the time, 1-4, and the person, and he was rewarded, he got a national award for having 14% public trust by the president. The reason for that is because of just that. There were very few rogue elements in the police service, and the commissioner did not see it fit to put systems in place to pinpoint, weed out, and of those rogue elements. And by doing that, 1 or 2 bad apples just affected the whole image of the police service. So what is required is to put systems to make them accountable and to measure their performance, so that if at any time you have these few rogue officers, you can pinpoint them, target them, and remove them. Or if people are trying to imitate them, ensure that you could separate police from thief, which goes back to the reason up to now, Earl Christopher and Old MacDonald Jacob can never state why you remove this. Why? Because Gary Griffith implemented it. How petty can you be? This here played a big part towards preventing. So if it is you knew, every citizen knew that unless you have this, I know you're not a police officer. That those individuals come to that person's doorstep, he has his burglar proof. Where's your badge? I'm not seeing your badge. I'm not letting you in. But you see people come in with some polo jerseys marked police, you don't know. And all of these things could have assisted. I'm not saying it would have prevented. But if it is that you know you're a civilian and persons come to your door, they say they are police and they don't have this around them. And then you're saying, I want you to show this badge with this number equivalent to your police ID card. Failure to do that, I'm not letting you in my home. You now have grounds to do so. These are the things that prevented the rogue elements from trying to imitate police officers. And then, as I said, with the GPS tracking on the police vehicles, it ensured that persons could not imitate police officers. So these are the things that can easily be reignited, but because of petty politics, because of senior police officers being intimidated by me being there in the past, they've shut down the badge, removed it. There's also the change of the police uniform. When it is that we realize the police uniform being utilized is similar to what an amalgamated security guard has. You could buy that in Pennywise. It's like an old washout jacket and pants, a dark blue, that anybody could buy. And then you say you're a police officer, you put on a balaclava. We changed the police uniform similar to the NYPD, so you look like a police officer. You can't get wear a old pants and a sweater and then say you're a police officer. So all of these things can easily cause the problem. It will minimize the possibility of persons imitating police officers.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I think the badge issue makes them more professional as a unit, more customer friendly and interactive.
Yeah.
But in circumstances like in that bar, citizens are likely to go. Remember, police officers can be intimidating, and if police officers come in a group with big weapons and say, "Excuse me, we need you to come with us," the likelihood is that citizens are going to go. You don't feel that you have the capacity to say, "Well, show me your badge. I'm not going with you unless you show me a badge." You know, the average citizen is just going to comply, you know, and go along with it because of the circumstance of a group of police officers wearing police. You're going to think it's legit.
Well, you're correct, Rick. Yes or no? Because I'm speaking about the point that the reason why they're wearing the uniform is to allow you to foolishly just walk with them because you perceive them to be police officers. If you don't think that they are police officers, it can't very, because my point is you're in your home, it's burglar proof. And if they turn up there in front of you, you're not going to open the door to let them in. So it gives you now it gives you something now to prevent them from kidnapping you or apprehending you. If it is that you just walk inside here and you're in public with them and they grab you, well, there's nothing that could be done. So there would be possibilities. I do not know in this specific circumstance, but if you're behind your closed door, you're in your gate, and you have dogs, you have burglar proof, and these officers refuse to show this. These officers refuse to show their ID card. It can't cause, you know, I want to see your ID, I want to see your badge. These were standard operational procedure to prevent police persons imitating police officers. And if those rogue officers actually were police officers, it allows the citizen now, I know your badge number, I know your number, I'm coming for you and liaising with the PC as soon as you leave. Because we had situations where police officers will abuse citizens and the citizens will go past and they wouldn't even know the name of the police officer because the police will at times say, I don't have to give you that. And there's nothing that could be done. This being put around you, ensure that you will see the number and you can't escape. Those are the things that would have been provided that caused public trust and confidence to move from 14 to 59%. It's a reason that 3 years later has moved from 59% to 8%. When you remove the badge, you refuse to implement the uniform that was acquired, you remove the GPS tracking on the vehicles, you remove the online reporting and the police app that will allow citizens to report rogue police officers. All of these things add up and it will cause the public now to lose confidence. And it's just because of a number of rogue elements in the police service. These were the same 7,000 police officers that the public had the highest public trust and confidence in any arm of the public service just a few years ago.
Well, there seems to be a ramping up of kidnapping. At least it seems that way. I remember years ago there was a problem with kidnapping, and I think under SORT, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it went down to virtually zero. And now there seems to be a ramp back up and disturbing need for citizens in terms of the last kidnapping / murder. It was police officers that were arrested concerning this issue. Now you have like a week or 2 weeks later, you have another kidnapping of a businessman and with people in police uniform. How do we navigate this? Because it's a serious problem. It's seriously concerning the citizens on the ground. Because now you're not so sure. If you're not sure if a police officer is really a police officer, you have a problem. You have a huge problem. How do you deal with something like this? And do you consider it a trend or not? Because earlier in the conversation that we were having when Paul was there, Paul had indicated that the minister, Keith Scotland, Senior Counsel, had said he doesn't see any trend. And of course, for some citizens, they're seeing a trend, and the trend is that kidnapping is on the rise. How do you look at it? Do you see it as a trend? And if you had to give advice to the TPS, what would you tell them?
Well, again, this started like 2005 to 2008 even when it formed SAUTT, the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago. And it was the worst we ever had with kidnappings. What the police were doing at the time is their job was to act as the negotiator. They kidnap the person. Okay, well, all right, let's wait for the ransom. The person demands, the kidnappers demand the ransom. They negotiate, pay the ransom, and hope that the victim is freed. That is not how we deal with policing. That was poor policing, and that person also got a national award for that as acting commissioner of police. What is required is what we did in 2019 and 2021. It wasn't Gary Griffith. It was a team. And that started, strange enough, and because this interview is not political, this is me dealing with law enforcement. Stuart Young at the time was the Minister of National Security. He played a very big part to assist me in dealing with putting an end to kidnapping, because he was the line minister, and he provided the support that I needed to get the support from the FBI, the DEA. The type of technology that is out there is what put an end to kidnapping. That is just one part, I should say. There are a number of other things that we did. The Special Operation Response Team, the intelligence unit assigned to the Special Operation Response Team, the online reporting, the police app, the 482 Gary. There's no such thing as the perfect crime. So we provided avenues for citizens to come forward and pass on information without fear of reprisal to say, listen, there's this very strange, these individuals who have just come next door. We don't know them, and they seem to be wearing police uniform. Bam, we got that. It gave us leads. We then also, again, with Minister Young, myself, we worked as a team with the SSA, with the same Roger Best. And through Roger Best, through myself, working 72 hours a day, 72 hours constantly for 3 or 4 days, like the Natalie Polonave kidnapping, for example. What you will see in the SVU TV series, there'll be a wall. We'll start pinpointing numbers. We'll pinpoint locations. We'll pinpoint targets, persons of interest, links, reason for it, and then start linking until we come to the possible perpetrator. That is how we were able to pinpoint persons of interest. And it wasn't by accident that over 15 different kidnappings, we were able to immediately arrest the kidnapper and rescue the victim. Now you're hearing police rescue the victim. The victim escaping is not a rescue. The victim's family paying the ransom is not a rescue. Rescue is when it is we were kicking down doors, intercepting vehicles, opening the trunks, finding rescuing the victim, arresting the kidnapper. We did that on 12 to 15 occasions from Natalie Polonave up. There was a reason for that, as I said, because of the special anti-crime unit. We had to form a unit separate and apart from the police, because on several occasions, certain police officers were part of the kidnapping. So when they were inside, knowing what we were doing and tipping off the kidnappers, hey, Gary, Gary's closing early, you need to move. So you must have a separate unit. The anti-kidnapping squad was a very highly trained unit, unfortunately, based on bad policing. Senior persons who were trained and qualified in anti-kidnapping, they transferred them to other locations, similar to the gender-based violence unit now. You recall in 2021, we had put a virtual end to domestic violence. The persons were properly trained through Mayor Rudy Giuliani's unit and NYPD. And now most of them have been from Clare Guy Island and others. They've now moved out of the gender-based violence unit, and persons in the GBVU now, police officers, are not properly trained. The same thing is happening now with the anti-kidnapping squad. So you need a special unit separate and apart, an intelligence unit separate and apart, and the technology that is out there. So it was not by accident that there were 12 to 15 kidnappings under my watch, and every single one we were able to pinpoint the kidnapper, arrest them, and rescue the victim. That is what put an end to kidnapping.
Let's talk about technology, and I don't know how much you can share without compromising anything, but the issue of masks, isn't there technology that can identify those guys in that police uniform because they were wearing masks? Isn't there technology that can approximate what they look like?
Well, you're just answering the question. There's absolutely not a snowball chance in hell I will state the type of technology that is there. What I could say is the technology there is what allowed us to solve 100% of the kidnappings and rescue the victims. The technology is there. The kidnappers could not understand what it is that I was doing that caused us to be able to pinpoint where they are, what they were doing, who they were, who were their assistants, who were supporting them in the police service. And that is what put an end to kidnapping for ransom, because they realized there's something that the police have that is catching us, so let's find another crime. They then tried with home invasion. We changed that to make sure we had GPS on the police vehicles. Police stayed in the area of responsibility. We had a proper 999. So if you dial 999, within less than 5 minutes, you jump the wall. By the time you jump back over, a few moments later, we'll apprehend you. We put an end to extortion. So there's technology that is there. I can't obviously give the details of technology for obvious reasons, but the technology is what put an end to kidnapping just 3 years ago. Why is it?
But if the technology was there and it still is there, I'm assuming, then
it's just not active.
Well, I can't say it's not active. There should be some resolve to all of this trend, or no trend. I don't know, the trend of kidnappings or the high-profile kidnappings that have taken place recently. There should be some sort of inroads being made because the technology exists, as you said.
Richard, if you put a ban and tell police officers you don't have to wear this, just that alone shows the pettiness that we have. We are playing politics with national security. We're playing politics with the lives of citizens. The systems are there. The police badges, the GPS on the vehicles, the special operation response team, the police online reporting, the police app, the technology. All of these things is what puts an end to kidnapping. So I know sometimes it's unfortunate that people would like me or dislike me based on the politics. So it's for the PNM or UNC till you die. Answer that. Why would you put an end to all of the things that I put in place that put an end to kidnapping? The point being the systems are there. However, it wasn't just the technology, as I said. Stuart Young, myself, Roger Best, we will spend several hours at the National Operations Center trying to see if we could patch everything together, forming a proper system to target the perpetrators. And we were able to do it. It takes a lot of work. You can't be a lazy commissioner of police. You have to micromanage these situations. You have to be on top of it. But as I said, up to now, 4 days later, the police can't even state if they were legitimate police officers involved in the kidnapping. Why? Because initially we had GPS tracking on every police vehicle. Had that remained, it meant that the police could have stated within 10 minutes, we wish to confirm there was no police vehicle at that spot at that time. That was someone imitating police using a vehicle with a blue light that was illegal. They can't say it because they shut down the operation command center, the commissioner's command center, the GPS tracking on the police vehicles. And by doing that, you don't know who's police from thief.
I wanted to get to the point of resources because the 2025 budget was recently read. I don't know if it's completely passed yet, but 59.7 billion. I think national security got the third highest at 6.1 billion, I believe it was. Of course, the highest allocation went to the Ministry of Health, strangely enough, which was 6.7 billion, followed closely by education, 6.5, 6.7, something a little less. And then, of course, national security. As part of the national security framework that the Minister of Finance identified, he identified certain things. He talked about Coast Guard vessels that will be acquired by 2027, I think it was. Yes. And also 2,000 vehicles, new vehicles for the police service. What's your take on that? Because, of course, you have political aspirations. So you must be looking at budgets and budget statements. And also from a security perspective, do you think those measures in terms of those 2,000 additional vehicles, the issue of the Coast Guard vessels, do you think good or bad in terms of the resource allocation to the security services? And an additional question I'm tagging on, the Prime Minister, I know CARICOM, had been big on public health, that crime be viewed through the lens of being a public health issue. I don't know if the increased allocation of the Ministry of Health to being 6.7 plus billion and being the #1 allocation includes some funding that is kind of channeling, kind of an intersect between the Ministry of National Security with regard to that public health issue. What's your take on all of that?
Well, health, education, and national security for the last few decades have always been the top 3 ministries with funding. As it pertains to the Ministry of National Security, half of that, or just a little over half of that, is salaries. So when people say, oh my God, he's spending $6 billion per annum on national security, we're getting nothing for it. You have the salary, so that's the first part. As it pertains to the allocation, yet again, the unfortunate thing is when civilians who have absolutely no training, knowledge, or capability in understanding law enforcement, they come up with these things, and without having experts in the field, it'll be waste of taxpayers' money. The extra Coast Guard vessels, it is ludicrous. I mean, when I acquired those 12 Diamond vessels, I acquired it at a cost of $1.2 billion less than the 3 OPVs, and they could have done the exact thing that the OPVs could have done. The OPVs, we were paying 800 million TT for each OPV. When it is as the security advisor, I looked at the cost I was getting the offer from the government of Israel, Colombia, and Korea. We were getting the same OPVs for 400 million TT. So that was basically 1.2 billion TT extra we were going to pay. People don't believe me? When you come off air, type BAE, capital BAE/corruption. You will find 17 countries suing BAE, inclusive of the United Kingdom, for paying kickback to government officials. So as it pertains to the vessels, so we got the number of vessels required, but we never had manpower strength to equate with asset acquisition. So when you have all of the vessels presently in the Coast Guard, if they're all operational now, it will not even, we don't have 20, it can't even 25% could be manned because we don't have manpower strength, but you're purchasing more vessels. It makes no sense. The Coast Guard, they don't need more vessels. What they need is proper maintenance. I heard the ridiculous talk about the Chinese vessel. That Chinese vessel was acquired by someone who had the highest rank in the history of the Defense Force at that time, Admiral. You had the present commanding or then commanding officer of the Coast Guard who became a chief of defense staff. You had legal and naval experts. You had persons who went to China, looked at the vessel, and we realized that vessel that has been in stables for the last 10 years, not used. They said that the government stated that vessel is ineffective. That vessel sailed from China to Trinidad by our own Coast Guard personnel. That's how good that vessel was. That vessel was going to be assigned to the Chinese Navy. That vessel would have been the first time that we will be able to take batches of 150 in the Coast Guard, send them out to sea for 2 weeks, and get them to be trained as sailors. To be trained as a sailor now, you stay on the Coast Guard jetty in stables and swim 5 laps. That's how you become a sailor, because they don't have the vessels to get you out to sea to train. So to say that the vessel was not good enough. If for 10 years you don't maintain it, you don't put systems to have it out at sea, then you will have problems. So you do not need more vessels. What you need is to increase the Coast Guard manpower strength to equate with asset acquisition. Additionally, you need to have the maintenance of the present vessels to be able to utilize it. But we love to purchase vessels because that's where you could get 3 or 4 times markup. Pertaining to the other things that they have implemented, I think it is, again, rather unfortunate. You need to look at the measures of corruption or mismanagement. A simple example is overtime in the police service, where I was able to pinpoint corruption and reduce it by about $100 million per annum. Reducing that allowed me to implement the police marine branch, the rapid response, the emergency response patrol, GPS tracking on vehicles, tasers, pepper spray, body cameras, things never seen before in the police service without asking Minister Imwood for a cent. And that is what was supposed to be done. Find ways to minimize wastage and utilize the funds now for what the law enforcement agencies would need. That is not what is being done. And you're just pumping money, and you're putting bad money, you're putting good money into bad, and you're not going to get the increase in the quality of service. Nothing was stated as it pertains to customer service training, public relation, put in systems to measure the performance of police officers, make them accountable, the proper utilization of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. We have 5,000 of them in Tetron and Stobles waiting for another 1990, 34 years later. We don't dare. There are things that they can do right now. So you can utilize them, but I think the budget showed, yet again, politicians coming up with bright ideas with absolutely no proper thought process.
But they have included the Defense Force recently in terms of joint patrols again. I know certainly in the city, I'm not so sure how widespread it is across the country, but certainly in the city of Port of Spain. So they are utilizing them to some measure in terms of that.
Richard, sorry, they use 100 out of 5,000, and they call that joint patrols. 100 members of the Defense Force are utilized with the IATF, the Interagency Task Force. And the reason I can know is I was there. When we had 150 hoodlums coming down into Port of Spain to destroy Port of Spain during the COVID period, not one member of the Defense Force came out. And no fault of theirs, they wanted to come out, but the politicians refused. So the Defense Force have never left Tetron or Stobles in 34 years, other than 100 to deal with IATF. We don't need that. These officers, these personnel are trained, they are qualified. So when people speak and say that they're only trained to kill, that is not true. I was the first Trinidad and Tobago citizen to return home with a United Nations peacekeeping medal. And because we are also trained to act as an aid to civil power and to support and complement the police service, we have regimental police. So those things, and again, when it is you look at the problem, we have the Air Guard. 500 persons in the Air Guard for the last several years have been in PRQ playing small ball football because they don't have a chicky chunk kite to fly, far less an aircraft or a helicopter. So those are the things that you need to put in place, allow them to be able to serve our country.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of certainly of an air guard and air power in the skies. I know people talk about drones and et cetera, I think there is nothing that beats the immediate response of a helicopter up in the air, following a vehicle and giving real-time information to resources on the ground. That's my opinion, but I'm not an expert. Let's do it a little bit of politics now, because you're, of course, the political leader of the NTA. The general elections is drawing nearer and nearer in 2025. Parties are starting to indicate who their candidates are for certain seats. Of course, you've already indicated that you're going up for St. Joseph. What's the sense? What is the NTA's strategy in this? Because there seems to be a certain amount of tension between yourself and the current opposition leader, and of course, a little bit, a little bit. And of course, the PNM doesn't align with anybody. They've always held that position. Is it that the NTA is prepared to go it alone in 2025?
Yeah, it's very strange that question is always asked on the third party, whether it's ONR, NAR, COP, or the NTA. You wouldn't ask the PNM or UNC that same question. It's always, what do we intend to do? It's always, do we intend to go alone or not? I would like for persons to understand.
They have a track record. Yeah? They have a track record.
Exactly. No, I know. I'm agreeing with you. There's a reason for that. The track record has always shown that. But I would like the country to understand that this bridge constituency, we are a political party. We have not been formed to get another party in government. We have not been formed to join another party to help them get in government. We are there because there's that 100 to 150,000. It started, I said, at 81 or 91,000 in 1981 with the ONR. It then went to 127,000 in 1991 with the NAR, of which Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was part of. I think she lost her deposit against the UNC in Separio in 1991. So when people criticize the third constituency, especially the UNC, hey, your political leader was in that same third party thing, and I think she lost her deposit. She was in the NAR against the UNC. And that was her right. There's nothing wrong with it. It then went to the COP in 2007 with 147,000 votes. Unfortunately, because of our first past the post rather than proportional representation, that 147,000 may be scattered throughout the country because they were, when they call us the knife and fork, when they call us the floating voters, the bridge constituency, call us what you want. The fact is that we may not have the numbers to get 21 seats, but the good thing is what we decide will always dictate the outcome of the election. That is a fact. If those floating voters, there's no third party, most usually turn to the PNM than the UNC, which is why the UNC has never won an election on their own in 34 years in a three-horse race. Never. The only time they've ever won any election on their own was in 2000, and it was not a three-horse race because Basio Pandey embraced that bridge constituency, the Carlos John, the Jerry Eppings, the Moving Assam, the Ian Gilles, the Quaitongs, to get that knife and fork bridge constituency persons to say, yeah, there's room for us under Basio Pandey. But there was no third party. As soon as a third party was formed a year later, they got a measly 188 votes in Tunapuna, and it cost the government to move from 1961 to 1818, and they lost government. That is the power of that bridge constituency. So what we do and decide, whether we go alone, whether we form with other parties, that always decides the outcome of an election. Having said that, I saw what happened with the Congress of the People in 2010 to 2015. I have no intention for anything perceived as political domestic violence. It is amazing. It's only in crazy people behavior that you will see something that worked in local government election. You defeat the PNM by 60,000 votes. And then you see that and then decide to just make a U-turn and start to attack the people you work with. That is mad people behavior. But that is their right. If it is that you can't unite your own party, you certainly can't unite a country. If you can't unite other political parties with you, you certainly can't unite a country. It starts from that. Trying to disrespect persons and attack them on a platform every Monday night is definitely not going to lure us. It's definitely not going to cause floating voters to say, yeah, I'm hearing what she's saying, so I'll go and join her. Pardon?
So are you saying that it's an advantage to the PNM in 2025?
Well, usually what we would have seen is a third party, as in 1981, 1991, and 2007, working separate and apart from the UNC or the ULF, would cause an increase in the seat allocation for the PNM. It happened in 2007, it became 2615 or 2516 because of that. Seats such as Samoa, Barataria, Shogunas, Pointe-a-Pierre, those seats will be lost because there will be a number of those floating voters in those areas that are really not aligned to the UNC. When it is that there's an alliance, those floating voters will say, look, I am supporting you, whether you're called ONR, NAR, COP, NTA, ABC, or XYZ. You work with another party, I could work with it because I know you are there to represent us. And